Hey everybody, it sure has been a while, hasn't it? Today's episode of the Snark podcast is sponsored by News Voice. As I'm sure most of us already know, almost all US media is owned by a handful of big, creepy, greedy corporations, so finding unbiased information and different perspectives is pretty damn hard. We need to take back control of the news, and this is how you can help. News Voice gives you a personalized news feed by aggregating major news sites as well as international and independent media. Each story shows several sources which are all tagged with their bias and perspective. I've been saying for years that the best way to get accurate information is to cross-reference all of the biased stuff. So this is pretty perfect for me. As a reader, you'll be joining a movement to change the way we consume news and media. You can upvote the stories that you find interesting so more people will see them, or add stories and links that are missing. Not only will you be joining a democratized platform for news, but you'll also be saving time by getting all of your news in one app, with unbiased summaries written by News Voice's community of volunteers. This is something that I genuinely feel is actually super useful and super important right now, so please download the News Voice app completely free from the link in our description on YouTube, and if you're off YouTube, please visit the Google Play Store or iTunes and search News Voice to download it for free today. newsvoice.com/app/the Snark Tank. Thanks again to News Voice for supporting today's episode, and go ahead and show them support, huh? Do it for me, do it for Chris.
Hey, look, it's a little dead meme.
Before we say anything today, I would like to thank all 900 of our Patreons, yo.
Yeah.
Someone just told me that shit. I was like, what?
Yeah, we're almost at 1,000 and even grand.
That's pretty
people.
crazy.
Is it still
That's
a grand
crazy.
if you're not talking about money?
Yeah, you can still say that. But
I guess
you
you
say,
can.
like-
I should say
Really?
money. I'm referring to money. I usually say a grand, but it could be.
Yeah,
it could
yeah.
be-
I mean, that is what that is.
I mean, I guess you wouldn't say a grand people, right? You wouldn't
Yeah.
say it doesn't. I guess it doesn't work. Yeah, I guess it's only for money. Never really thought about that.
Anyway, yeah. So thank you guys for that. If you want to
much
support
appreciated,
us,
y'all.
feel free to head over to patreon.com/the Snark Tank and get us over 1,000. That'd be sick. That'd be wild.
And-
If not, I mean, whatever. You'll probably die cold and alone.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you don't do it, I threatened you guys one time before, and I have no problem doing it again. You better give us your money,
All right, let's
because
calm down.
I will show up. And
you see-
you think calling the cops will stop me? Well, guess what? I'm fucking impervious.
Yes.
Did you see the what is it?
I
Did you
can't
see
die.
Did you see the animated they did of that?
Yeah.
Someone did it. Someone did an animated of you.
That shit was
threatening.
amazing, dude.
It's
It
wild.
was amazing.
Thank
you for the
coming,
animations
bro.
too, guys. Thank you for everything. Thank you for all of this shit, man. Every day I wake up and I see something new for the podcast, and it actually warms my fucking tundra cold heart, my fucking icy fucking Antarctic heart.
Yeah. I'm really surprised
You guys are
even
the
have a
reason
heart
why I
at all.
haven't turned completely evil. I would have went fucking evil, bad,
Dude,
Mr. Bad Times. But thank you.
As that's real talk. I mean, think about if going through this pandemic, if we didn't have the Snark Tank, how much more angry and having the urge to kill would we have in our veins? You know, I think this is a good outlet.
It is a good
Yeah.
outlet for me, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Everything I've done this whole entire quarantine has kept me sane. Like, I don't want to tell my Twitch followers I really care about them and how, like, I appreciate what they've done for me. But, like, without them, I would have lost my shit.
Yeah, I probably would have went to
would've just been in my
DTLA.
room.
I probably would have went to DTLA and gotten shot, dude. I probably would have just go. Like, you know what I mean? At a certain point, you get curious. You're like, what would happen if I just stood up in front of these cops? You know?
What would happen if I, like, wait till the one cop turned the corner and just beat the piss out of him? Like, what would happen then?
Well,
I'm
I
not
think
saying do
there's-
that. I'm not saying do that. I'm just saying, like, I thought about doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty easy to tell. You can just look at a piece of Swiss cheese and probably figure out what the future holds in that regard.
Yeah. It would be
The,
confusing. It'd be confusing
it's
because, you know, the
fucking-
Swiss cheese doesn't get shot, but the black cheese would definitely end up dead real quick.
Black cheese.
Black cheese.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Hey, bro. Yo, I don't want to talk about it, but it's real shit that's happening out there.
It is real shit that's happening. But this is a podcast where we don't talk about real shit.
That's
Not
very
really,
true. We
anyway.
talk about bullshit. We talk about comedy.
So what do we got? What do we got? What's happening? I was only aware really of actually no, we should start. I feel like we should start with the Bella Thorne thing.
We could if you want.
Yeah,
Because that seems like the most heavy one, and also we can just put a hot Bella Thorne in the thumbnail. And
yes,
then
we
people
can. I love it.
Oh my god, Derek immediately propped up to that. Hot white woman. Oh yes, I'm down.
Dude, I didn't know who she was until just a few days ago. I knew of her. I didn't know what she did. I didn't know she was from Disney.
Yeah, same. I heard her name before, like on Twitter, like a year or two ago, maybe for some article that she wrote or was about her or something. But like beyond that, I had no idea who she was.
I remember exactly what happened. I think it was last year. It was either last year or 2 years ago that somebody she was another one of those dumb celebrities that fell for that hack for the Apple security risk, change your password, and it's not from Apple at all. But so she got phished, and so somebody tried to extort her for money, like I have your nudes, and then she released them, and
right,
it became like a huge conundrum, and that's when I started seeing what was going on, and then she had beef with Whoopi Goldberg. Because Whoopi was like, you dumb celebrities, you stupid hoes. Like, stop putting your nudes in the cloud. She obviously, I'm paraphrasing, right? But she essentially said that.
Yeah, obviously.
And then Bella Thorne went on Instagram, a story, not live, but a story. And she was freaking out, like screaming, crying. And I was like, this is the most insane thing I've ever seen. So that's Bella Thorne to me.
Yeah. I forgot about that entire thing. Hey, you dumb hoe, stop putting your nudes in the cloud. Whoopi Goldberg, 2018.
I'm Whoopi Goldberg. Stop putting your nudes on.
I was in Sister Act 1 and 2. Look at me. I'm a black woman and I got dreadlocks.
I have no fucking eyebrows. What's up? You want to...
All right. It's alopecia. No,
Oh my god, that's so
Jesus
fucked
Christ.
up.
I haven't heard Whoopi Goldberg speak in so long that I can't tell if that's really accurate or way off.
It's very inaccurate. It's very inaccurate, dude. Like that's disrespectful. Actually, that's just rude.
Let me see if I can impersonate Whoopi Goldberg from sheer memory, having not heard her in a long time. I got news for you.
I hate you. I hate this house. I hate it here. I hate it here.
So Bella Thorne is in the news again because so what happened was I guess she joined OnlyFans as a celebrity with millions of fans who are obviously dying to subscribe to if you could pay $1 to see a celebrity nude, a lot of people are probably going to do it.
Sure.
Just by sheer volume of the people watching them and paying attention to them.
Sure.
So she made like, I think $1 million in like a week or something?
No. She made $1 million in one day.
Right.
And in total, as she was on OnlyFans for however long she was on, she made a total of $2 million.
Right. So she made $2 million in the short amount of time that she was on OnlyFans. And I guess apparently on OnlyFans, there's this thing where I guess you can like tip. You can like send tips, and you get rewarded based on like how high the tip is, or there's like content that I guess is sent.
Yeah,
to
there's DMs.
Yeah, there's so there are DMs that you have to pay to unlock. I think is that what it is?
Yes, exactly what it is.
Okay, that was really confusing to me because I was like, aren't you already subscribing? Shouldn't you be getting this for free? But like, whatever.
You would think that, right?
That's how I would. That is how I would assume that business works.
Well,
but
look,
not.
This is the. Let me just interject real quick. The normal business model, because I've actually started to look into this. The normal business model is you subscribe for a certain amount of money, and then you get what's behind the subscription, the paywall. Now there's the other business model is you subscribe for free, and then there will be like lewds, and then there will be paywalls for the good stuff. So that's how people, it's either you do that one or that one. Depends on how good you are at working or connecting.
It's like you pay for Disney Plus and then they expect you to pay for Mulan.
Exactly. Some fuck shit. Some stupid fucking bull. I'm already giving them fucking $6 a month. I'm not paying for that fucking movie. Bro. I don't care about Juan Mulan. Fuck that. Bullshit.
That's how I feel about ESPN Plus, where I'm like, okay, UFC's with ESPN Plus now, and it's like I still need to pay $60 or $70 depending on the pay-per-view. I still need to pay for the full pay-per-view and have ESPN Plus to watch it. So I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna pirate it.
Look, I get it. Make your bread, I guess, but that business model inherently kind of bothers me.
It's upsetting.
But But regardless, so I guess she promised. I guess she was like, she sent this DM out for, I think, what was it, like $200 or something?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, pay $200 and you can unlock this nude, and it wasn't a nude. So she was essentially scamming people. So a lot of people were like getting refunds, so much so that OnlyFans got overwhelmed, and they basically restructured the entire payout for the entire website because of the shit that Bella Thorne pulled. So basically, before, I think it was every week you could get a payout. But now it's like every 30 days.
Yeah, they're like us bitch-ass YouTubers now.
Yeah. And honestly, like...
Sorry.
Honestly, dude, like, this really reminded me a lot, like, when I saw it, of you know, stuff like, obviously, like Mulan on Disney+, but it also reminded me specifically of, like, when the late-night Jimmies came onto YouTube and just fucking sieged the trending page to the point where that was
Jimmies.
Pretty much all it was.
If your last name is Jimmy, I hate you.
Your last name is Jimmy? You
Yeah.
idiot.
So no one's.
Kimmel Jimmy?
I don't hate anybody.
His Jimmy Kimmel's first name is Kimmy?
Did you imagine his name is Kimmel Jimmy?
Kimmy Jimmel.
Kimmy Jimmel. Oh my god. Could you imagine demanding respect with a name like that?
Kimmy Jimmel?
Kimmy Jibble.
I don't know, man. Like, it really did remind me of that. It's like, where it's like, okay, you got this person who's incredibly famous, who probably isn't hurting really for money at all. And she goes onto this platform that specifically exists for people who aren't, you know, like, people aren't on OnlyFans because they're millionaires, you know? They're doing it because it's like, hey, this is a pretty good way to make money, and this is what I'm choosing to do. It's kind of like YouTube, where it's like a lot of YouTubers, they started on YouTube making independent content, and then all these fucking rich people came on.
Yeah, once the normal people built it up, they propped it up, then here comes the rich, greedy fucks to suck out all the resources.
Yeah, now that you've spent years legitimizing it for barely any money, we're here to take all the money that's left.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll
That's
take
so fucking terrible.
We'll take the Google preferred ads, and then they ruin the site because they make it. They inconvenience everybody when they're present on the site, because they're inherently paid more attention to by the people who are higher up.
They inherently
Like
also destroy the relevancy of you guys and change the medium. Like, people are gonna be like, oh, the production business is the same thing as other stuff, and it's just like, you're fucking up what we're doing. This is our art form, and you guys came with all your money destroying it. Because now I can't compete with the shit you have. You're the fucking Rock. How am I gonna compete with you having a private jet? I got a car that fucking screams at me. I got a regular ass camera.
I have a Ford Taurus. Like, what the fuck am I doing?
I have a Ford Taurus that was given to me. I didn't even buy it. Someone in my family didn't want it anymore, and they gave it to me.
I found this Ford Taurus in the desert.
Bro, real talk, like, my back windows don't roll down, and sometimes I have electrical problems to the point where my front ones won't roll down. And then sometimes my fucking my door ajar light comes on when my doors are fucking shut. It'll just pop open, and then you'll just keep hearing beep beep, and I'm like, oh my god! It just reminds me of how, like, not fucking wealthy I am. It just reminded me of, like, fuck. But that's the grind, though.
It is the grind, but, like, I mean, they're not grinding. Bella Thorne's not fucking grinding.
She didn't need any fucking money. Like, this is the thing, like, when they get to you get to a certain point where you're just collecting. You're not like, say, getting money to live.
You're hoarding at the moment.
Yeah, you're just collecting money. That's all you're doing. And you look how many people she fucked over. So many people, because not only there's a cap on tipping now. So there was the tipping system where it used to be, I guess, an unlimited amount, I think, because now it's only like 100, I think.
Now it's 50, I think.
No, 50. It's 50 for the private messages to unlock. If you have, like, an unlocked post, I think that's 50. And then for the tipping system on the normal post, like if you were to post on your wall or your account or whatever, like your feed, that's 100. So there's, like, the two different systems, and I guess that's gonna exponentially lower a lot of people their income because of the simps that were, emptying their wallets. Now, I'm not inherently upset about, because I'm not a fucking sex worker on OnlyFans, but
that's true.
The idea, what upset me, because don't hate the player, hate the game. It upset me that people were willing to pay that much money for shit where I'm like, come on, guys, I want you to be smarter. I want you to be like, for example, Riley Reid has a system where you subscribe for like $5 or something. And then even the stuff that is behind a paywall, it's still a chunk of change. But she has a big fan base. And it's like, I was like, that's reasonable. That's reasonable. Grow your audience like how we do. And we only get money through fucking AdSense and then people donating to us every once in a while. You know, like, and then you have these other motherfuckers. Like, imagine, like, to get access to this podcast, you need to pay us fucking $100 or some shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's fucking wild.
That's so fucking wild. I get you. I feel you.
So I'm not that sad.
That's not a bad idea, honestly.
Honestly, $900 people, $100.
Oh
we're making off pretty good. All I'm saying, I'm not saying we're gonna do it. I'm saying I'm thinking about it.
No, yeah, I know what you mean. Like, I mean, that's just capitalism, though. Really,
True.
It's just like you know, if you have a product that people are willing to pay for, it's really all that matters. The fact that you have an audience. It reminds me of it's like what is it? Microtransactions, right? Where it's like that shit pisses me off. But evidently, people fucking pay by the boatloads for the shit because they wouldn't keep implementing them if they didn't make a lot of money. So it's like
a ton of money.
At the end of the day, the blame really is
on us,
on the customer.
It is. I totally agree, and that's why I wish people would be like a little bit better about things. Like have a little bit of like, hey guys, if you held out, you can change and influence the market. If you stopped shoveling, whaling is what they call it. Like I rarely ever play like games that have transactions and shit like Raid Shadow Legends or something. But I've learned all these terminologies because people that are rich or whatever, willing to pay all this money, they ruin these games because they keep driving up the prices because people are willing to pay for this shit. Where it's like, if you capped this shit, they would make it cheaper and then everybody can enjoy it. You would be fucking heroes. But I don't know, rich people are kind of fucking greedy. They don't give a fuck. They just don't give a fuck. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, they ain't like us. They ain't like us. They ain't built like us no more.
Well, the thing is, with OnlyFans, it's different because to me, like, I know a handful of sex workers now at this point. Like, I've had conversations with many of them, and it's like they're all really chill people, and I like all of them. They're really cool. Agreed. So, like, you know, I think they get shit on a lot. So if they can make money, I'm totally fine with that.
Very true.
But I do see like. And I sympathize with a lot of these people. Sympathize.
Because you're a simp.
Simp. No, I sympathize with a lot of this because it really does remind me of the fucking Jimmy invasion and just like all this shit where it's like, yeah, it sucks when people who are just fucking, who really have no business being on the platform just come in and usurp it and then suddenly like they're the people who the platform is paying attention to.
Yeah.
Like obviously like Jimmy Kimmel can do whatever the fuck he wants. For sure. Like, he can do whatever the hell he wants on YouTube. He could make fun of people every fucking day, right? And he won't get banned. Like, he will not get banned. He'll get preferred ads. He'll get a high CPM. He'll get the fucking works because he's Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
And as much as I don't like Leafy, he was just making fun of someone over and over again, just like these late night people do. And you know, he got fucking axed. Now, I'm not saying that Leafy probably didn't deserve to get axed, but I am saying that it's like it's wild that the second that these celebrities come in, they have preferential treatment, and I totally get why people are pissed with Bella Thorne.
Yeah, they're
like,
totally
it makes perfect sense to me.
Above the rules, essentially, like when it comes to the Jimmys. And think about like Logan Paul, for example, who did something that we would never be able to recover from if we act. Even though, like, say behind the scenes, I think it's a little bit more complex. Are we talking about the dead body? Yes.
Yeah, the fucking wind chime. Yeah,
I think behind the scenes is a little more complex because I do believe, like, when you examine everything, I don't think that this quick little theory. I think that the body was fake, and the perception of it was real. And it was such a big deal that they really couldn't come back from it to the point where I was saying, no, guys, it was just a prank because overall it's easier to plead ignorance, to be like, oh, I didn't know, I'm sorry, than to be like, I was willfully trying to make a mockery of some of suicide and like that type of shit. I think it would have been much worse of
that sounds believable.
Yeah, I think so. What happened was with the PR storm, they were just like, dude, just run with it because I don't believe at any point in time, I don't think anyone other, barring somebody who has literal mental health issues, and they're stupid, but not like, you know, to the point where they can't comprehend certain basic things. Like, everyone knows you can't put death on a thumbnail. Everyone knows that. You can't put a dead body on a thumbnail. Everyone. There's an entire team of that Paul stuff. So I have to believe, like, oh, if they were doing that, for sure they faked it. For sure. But it
makes sense.
It just makes more sense to go with, oh, we stumbled upon it, because imagine if the shitstorm it would be like, oh, never mind, we faked it. But my whole point is, even with the perception of it, that's publicly the perception that it was a real dead body. If any of us did anything like that, whether it was real or fake, we couldn't come back from it. We couldn't just lose our preferred ads. We'd be gone, dude. Like, just like when you see like violence, when there's these videos of like snuff stuff that some idiot puts on there, they're gone immediately. They're gone. And so
yeah, no, it's what we don't even get preferred ads in the first place.
Oh fuck no, I know. Jeez.
So like, we're already at like a fucking disadvantage. But like, yeah, we would never be able to recover from that. Like, if I showed like a child being like launched off a roof,
that'd be wild.
You know, like,
you get a bunch of views.
Like, I wouldn't. In fact, there was actually one video I did on YouTube where I broke all the community guidelines in 2 minutes.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was on trending for like a little bit. And then they did something that I don't think I've ever seen, because that video definitely broke guidelines, right? But they didn't take the video down. All they did was, I think they age restricted it, and then they paused the views. Like, that video has way more views than the view counter says it does. And I know this because I've gone back and watched it. I've linked it out several times since then, and the view counter just hasn't gone up, but the likes have. So like, I really genuinely don't know how many views that video has, because it's frozen at like, I think 800K, because I think they saw it on trending and they were like, oh.
Dude, whoops. People have been trying to tell me, and I've been trying to push back, because I'm not a hugely conspiratorial person about certain things. But a lot of people have been trying to tell me, people that are even smart, they're like, dude, YouTube does manipulate things. There are certain, it's not a bug like you think. I think that there's a bug in YouTube. And other people are begging to differ, and they say, no, there's certain things that are flagged on certain accounts. And then there's certain things happen. They push you out of recommended. The algorithm, your views get capped, this and this and that. And I'm like, that just sounds crazy to me. But enough
people, believable to me, honestly.
I get. Yeah. I don't want to. For example, my channel has been having a myriad of issues for years, and I can't get a straight answer out of YouTube. That does make it a little bit more plausible to me. But I'm like, why aren't they just giving me a straight answer? What the fuck's wrong with my page? Because I know a handful of people that experience it every single time they upload. Even though their videos are highly rated, like in the 90s, there's barely any negativity, any downvotes or anything, you still lose like a myriad of subscribers. So like, I've hit fucking 420 subscribers 3 times, because normally I just keep growing, but then in the past 2 years or something, and some people are saying, they're speculating, oh, your channel is just marked or whatever. The only thing I can say is my CPM is infinitely lower. I'm having that issue, and I've asked them, hey, why can't I link my Teespring store? You know, the merch shelf? Like, there's that fucking thing that I can link it to I've had a channel since 2019, my metal channel. And yeah. I can link my merch on there. I can link it on my second channel, Black Chat. I can't link it on my main one. I was like, guys, what's wrong with my channel? And they're just like, they don't give me an answer. And so I don't know. I don't know what to believe, dude. I don't know what to
waffle
believe.
Around. You know what I think? I think the site is so big and so complicated that there's a lot of issues that they just don't know how to fix, and they just kind of ignore. It's better to just ignore people than say we don't know how to fix this, because then like that's a whole PR thing where it's like, well, you don't know how to fix this.
Isn't this a website, and then blah blah blah, and it goes down there from there.
I agree. Yeah, because YouTube is fucking huge. Like they're
Agreed.
It's inconceivable how much content is uploaded to YouTube every second.
Like
it's wild.
It's really stupid, and the amount of people who are making money through it now
are even crazier.
I mean, it's like a country. it's like a country's worth of people making money. Like, sure, there are people making millions, there are people making a couple thousand, there are people just making a couple $100. But there's a lot of people who make livings on this platform to the point where, like, there's definitely like a country's worth of people who are employed by YouTube, I think.
Yeah, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like this that especially how even the requirements that they made now, it's not even that difficult. Like, it's not that, like, say, if you can get, like, because I've seen some small channels that have no relevancy, they don't know anybody, so they don't have any reason to blow up, but they still had this one video that just got luckily caught in the algorithm, which happens to almost everyone that blows up, right? There is a specific video that gets caught in the algorithm, then all eyes on you, and then you start getting a few hundred, a few thousand subscribers or whatever. And so if you can get like one viral video, you pretty much meet the requirements pretty quickly. And
pretty much, based on the method, based on how the site works. Yeah, you just need one video.
Yeah. And one thing that one secret that every website that has some type of service, what they do is if you have a new account, the algorithm favors you, meaning that I told people that have dying channels, I tell them, start a new channel. You will have much more luck having that channel blow up than trying to recover your old account, because your old account's already buried. It's already been passed over. But like the new ones are favorable. That's why, like, for example, on dating websites, if you use dating websites, if you don't want to pay for their services or whatever to get yourself to the top, just keep creating accounts. After a week or two, delete it and create another one, because when you start it, you're put at the top. So that's the way to get more. It's the same concept that I always tell people. If you want to get like when I started my my black metal channel, I had like 2 videos go viral on it pretty quickly, just because everybody's making subjects about these videos, but I have a brand new account, and then it just slid up to the top. And it's not because I have a big channel already, because people don't like to deviate from that. You know what I mean? Like, say you can have like my main channel has like 420K, and I can't get a third of those people to come over to my new channels. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so it's not that like, oh, I have this huge advantage, because people don't fucking budge. Is the people just like, hey, I have this new channel, subscribe. They're like, no, I'm good. They just
That's too much work.
That's how it is. It's fun. I mean, I don't blame them, but my point.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't do it either.
Yeah, I really don't blame them at all. But I don't know. It's complicated. So I guess mostly YouTube's incompetence is the reason why most of this shit's happening. But I was just saying that some people beg to differ and say that there's certain code that's placed on stuff, and if you have unfavorable content, you're suppressed.
No, I'm sure there's some system that flags certain channels at being like more of a risk for like, oh, okay, we should keep an eye on this one. Like, I know my Twitter is definitely like flagged by Twitter, like 100%.
Yeah, definitely mine too.
Because every time I post an image, regardless of what it is, it always says sensitive content.
Oh,
like always.
Interesting.
Like if you're not following me and you see a tweet of mine that went viral and it has a picture in it, it will always say sensitive material present. And it's like, what? It's usually just like, I don't even know, like a picture of like a fucking like a Pokemon Gold cartridge that I found or something. and it'll still have like that flag, and it's so weird. And I can't talk to Twitter about it, because Twitter is just like YouTube, where it's like they don't give a shit, really.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really, unless you're verified, and I'm never getting verified. I was told that all you needed to get verified was you need to be like cited in articles and stuff, and that was false, because I've had several articles written about me at this point.
No,
and,
it's such bullshit. It's two things. What was it, Gus?
Johnson?
Yeah. So yeah, I probably should say that, right? But he made a good video about that, showing how the system works, right? And it was all these really credible and people that are with a lot of clout and notoriety that were getting rejected, and he was pretending to be like the Twitter verification, and then there was like this kid that was like, it was a kid that was portraying like a journalist that basically just stupid and doesn't have any type of notoriety. Like, oh, here you go, here's your verified check. Because that's essentially, if you're considered a journalist, but nobody knows who you are and there's no reason for you to be verified, you can be verified. And
yeah, dude, I've seen so many verified accounts with like 2,000 followers or something, and I'm like, what the fuck
insane.
is this?
That's fucking wild.
And so it's that, and then it's
really
definitely
stupid.
who you know, because I've seen people that I know some people that have no business. They don't even create stuff. They don't even create anything. They're not even anything to offer to anybody. They're just a person that exists, and then they're verified. I'm like, okay. I'm like, who the fuck do you know? Who did you ask? And they're like, hey, no problem. You know, hand it out. Like, it's so weird.
What does the verification of Twitter get you exactly?
Well, there's a couple of perks. Oh, you want to take this?
Yeah, well, I don't know all the perks, but I know that it keeps your notifications a little bit cleaner. I think it just, I think you're free from a lot of the weird flags. Like whenever if I posted a picture of anything, and I had a verified tick, I don't think it would say like, you know, sensitive material.
Yeah, getting flagged is a lot harder because you are verified.
Is Twitter at all lucrative? No, right?
They're experimenting with it.
Really? That's weird.
I mean, it's definitely lucrative in the with investments and advertisement that they put on there.
Okay.
But as far as other people making money off of it, that's something that I know they've experimented with some creators. But I don't know if they're ever going to roll that out. But the verified thing though, you can DM anybody. It doesn't matter if you don't have that available, they can still DM you. And
okay.
And
that's
also
cool.
there's a verification tab that say if you only wanted to filter out and see what verified people are saying in your notifications, that's another thing too, because I feel bad that my notifications they don't work in a sense that I can see people when people follow me, or when people are pretty, like they have like a large following or verified, I can see when they like my tweets. I can't see when they retweet them. I don't know why. And I can't see when they follow me. When I had like under 10K, it worked perfectly. Where if somebody had like a big following and they followed me, I would be able to see it. There's a lot of people following me that I would love to follow back, but I have no idea who the fuck they are.
Same, dude. It's wild. They get lost in translation.
Yeah, and there's no filter to filter out the people that are the most, the biggest or whatever. Like Instagram now has a feature that if somebody requests to DM you, there's a filter of like the latest messages or the top ones, meaning who has the most followers. Yeah. And it's kind of nice to have a filter so you can see who the fuck's messaging you. And so
it's nice to be able to choose between them, because like if I have the option if I have the option to choose between them, I will try and read all of them.
Yes.
But if there's a situation where it's like I either have to pick between the people who follow me or just everyone, and there's no middle ground, I'm not going to have everybody, because my phone's going to be fucking unusable.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be able to find anything. So, like, having a verified tab and being able to be like, okay, well, so I can still get notifications from everybody, that I could see those. And I could see, like, some of the art that I miss, or, like, some of the fan replies that I get that I just have no chance of seeing now.
Yeah.
I can see the people who follow me and who I follow, and then I can see the people who are verified. I just think it's like a way better messaging system. It shouldn't even be locked behind fucking verified, to be quite frank. It should be just like a base fucking function of the website.
It should.
True.
But
very true.
I don't understand what they're doing. I don't understand their algorithm, and like where something. I had the same thing happen to me when I was losing a bunch of followers on YouTube, and then like knowing that it's some type of bug or something like that. I feel like I had the same thing on Twitter, because when I was about at 90K followers on Twitter, I then just started losing thousands of followers every day, to the point where I got under I pretty much got to like 79 or something. I was like, what the fuck happened? I'm like, I'm not, no one's talking shit in my mentions. No one's like, fuck you, I'm unfollowing you, or you're a piece of shit. So and then just randomly, probably a few months before the pandemic hit, all of a sudden they just started waves just coming back. And I was like, what is this? I don't understand. Like now I'm at 86 when like towards the beginning of the year, I was probably under, I don't remember what it was exactly, but now they're starting to like come back, and it's driving me nuts, man, that we don't have access to this information.
Same every so often. Like I go from like, I remember, what was it? I think like about the beginning of the year, I was at like 20,000. And then all of a sudden this year, I mean, I have been way more on the internet now. Like I started doing Twitch. We started doing the podcast like that. And I started being like more creating, but I got like 12,000 followers since the quarantine.
Yeah, I don't get
like,
it.
What the fuck? It's
fuck
weird.
all this doomsayer shit. How's your Twitch doing, man? Let's talk about something fun. Let's talk about something nice.
Oh, my Twitch is doing pretty good, man. I had like a ridiculously awesome stream today. They usually come there and just make fun of how bad I am at video games, which it's true. It's true. I'm only good at like maybe 3 video games.
I'm gonna be real, man. And I enjoy watching like regular people play video games opposed to like, I like watching compilations of people that are like pro, because I'm like, oh, look at that. That was dope. But I enjoy watching people go through the struggle. You know, like to me, it's
definitely
much more
a good back
fun.
and forth. Because like we've seen people be good at video. We've grown up in the era of people like, I don't want to see everybody as good as Chris playing fucking playing Halo. Like that shit's just annoying, you know. It's just like, I don't care. I can't do that. I don't care. Like I watch Smash tournaments because Smash is the only game I'm like kind of like adept at. I'm not half bad at Destiny either. I have my moments where I'm horrible at Destiny though. Like I have moments like today on the stream, I got like my proficiency was 0.17 one of my games. It was really bad. Like I was pretty much a fucking blind man.
That's like what is that? That's like 2 kills and fucking 20 deaths.
That's like 2 kills and there's like 1 kill and 20 deaths almost.
It's a pretty rough one.
It was a bad day. It's a bad day.
That reminds me of like starting when I first started playing Modern Warfare 2. I was so discouraged because people were already like on Modern Warfare. I started with Modern Warfare 2, so I was such a baby. It was like I hated playing because no one would want you on their team. Like you're doing like fucking team deathmatch and you're fucking contributing just like that, like 220 fucking ratio. Like that's so bad.
Okay, guys. All right. It was really bad at first, but I pulled it together. All right. I pulled it together. I put on my right armor. I used the right subclass and I started getting crazy.
Do you think you would be better at video games if you could play with Elon Musk's brain chip installed in your head?
Oh my god, perfect transition. Let's talk about that.
What the fuck even is that? I just saw Pig. What's going on with that? I don't even know.
So he just made this thing called Neuralink, which I guess is a chip that they just put in your brain, and it lets you. I don't know, like it's just AR stuff where it's like, oh hey, now you can activate lights with a thought, or play video games with your mind, or whatever the fuck. And
that's
kind of
presumably
cool. I mean, presumably, assuming it works.
Yeah, the idea is cool.
Which is a big if. And also, like, I don't know, man. I feel like the premise of getting a chip installed in your brain that lets you manipulate all sorts of technology without the use of your hands, I feel like that shit would have been really awesome maybe like 2 years ago, you know? But for some reason, I would have been all over this 2 years ago, but for some reason now it's like, I don't know if I want Elon Musk in my head.
Yeah, he's been tripping a little bit lately, but like he's a genius. That's what happens. They kind of go crazy for a little bit.
I just, it's not about Elon Musk specifically. It's just about somebody with a lot of money and power putting a thing in my brain that there's no way they're not like taking data from, you know?
Well, absolutely.
Because that's how like data mining is like how a lot of people make money.
Yeah.
Now. So it's like, oh man, do I really, I guess it's kind of like the cell phone thing, right? Where like every app that you agree to use and you sign the terms of service without actually reading it.
Yeah.
It's like that, except extra because it's your fucking brain being tampered with.
I don't think I would be last of the party type of deal if I couldn't.
I would definitely be I feel you.
Yeah,
I really do wish I could be excited about it.
Like, I'm definitely like the seventh wave. Like, after it's been going on for a little while, and people aren't turning into like zombies. Like, our brains aren't turning into like fucking like soldiers for this certain cause. But okay, I'm down with it now. Because, you know, it's been like a few years. Everyone isn't gone crazy. People's brains aren't turning into fucking gelatin. Like, I'll jump on the train now. But at first, I'm definitely gonna watch and wait.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It trips me out. Like, I just don't understand how. I don't understand how somebody wouldn't use this for nefarious purposes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, it seems like such a. It seems like such a freebie.
It's definitely like some big brain macro shit that I really can't understand. You know, I mean, like that's that's wild to me. It's like, that's such a fictional idea. That's like someone saying, "Oh yeah, dude, Elon Musk just or somebody in Europe just manufactured the first dragon." It's like, huh? Really? They're doing that already? It's like, oh wow, that's crazy. I didn't know it was going to happen anytime soon.
They already do tricky shit with your fucking phones, you know, and that's. I don't know, like there's no way they wouldn't try some slick shit with your brain. Like, you'd be sleeping one day and then you'd have an advertisement in your fucking dream.
Yeah.
Or like, or something like that, where it's like, oh man, you're having like a night terror, and then fucking the Pringles man saves you, and then oh man, I better have some Pringles.
I really owe him one.
Dude, they legitimately talked about that in Futurama, or
with the fucking iPhone thing, with the actual iPhone, yeah.
Well, yeah, there's even like dreams like implanted into you where you're like Fry was like naked in front of an audience or something like that, and like, oh, get this underwear or something, and then he went and bought them the next day or something, and it's like, dude, that's so nuts. And
dude, it really does seem likely that's like if conceivably if this works, and if all of the promises are true, right? And you can use this thing to interface with devices with like hands-free, just with your thoughts. That must mean that they have some access to your brain in a really intrusive way. So there's nothing to say that there's nothing that says they couldn't put like an ad in your head. Yeah. But also, like, I don't know about you guys, but I know personally there's a lot of things that I think that, you know, don't become words for reasons.
Oh, abso-fucking-lutely. Absolutely.
So,
the shit I think when I'm a little upset would get me put in jail.
I mean, just the thought of like me like going over to my Amazon like Echo thing, and it just activating it with my thoughts, and it being like, I'm sorry, did you say fuck this guy? I hate him. I hope he fucking dies, and I hope his daughter explodes. And I was like, what? Whoa! And you're in like the people are over at your house and they hear it, and it's like, no, man.
Or what if you mistakenly think about nudes and you mistakenly airdrop nudes to everybody, and you're like, God fucking damn it.
Can you imagine?
You're like, God,
you mistakenly airdrop nudes.
Mentally.
That's some dangerous shit, man. Like, stuff like that. That's why there's certain things like airdropping and the cloud. There's certain things where I appreciate technology, but there's certain parts that I don't use. I don't use the cloud. I am totally fine with having an external hard drive to back up my stuff in. I don't. Yeah. It doesn't have to be in a cloud to where, if my shit crashes, I'll be fine. I have 3 external hard drives. I just don't trust that, you know, for whatever reason, if there's a huge security breach or anything happens, they have access to your stuff. So I feel like if this neural trancing, whatever you want to call it, whatever Elon Musk is working on, it's a feature that I probably wouldn't use unless I was forced to, you know, at a certain point where it's like, you have to integrate, you have to do this now.
You gotta comply.
Yeah.
When I'm 70 years old, right, and I have nothing left to lose, and any nudes that would have been taken of me when I was young that would have been shared when I'm old would just be flattering to me, then at that point I'd be like, yeah, whatever, fuck it.
Yeah.
I don't
let me race my Roomba around my house with my brain.
I have no problem. Honestly, I have nothing to hide. They can show all my shit. I don't give a fuck. They show my messages too.
That would actually.
Yeah, like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I just don't care.
It would help you out, bro. That's the thing. That's the interesting thing. Like, whenever nudes get dropped of somebody, unless they're like a hideous chud or whatever the case is. But like, barring that, whenever nudes get dropped to somebody, it helps them. They always get a boost in popularity. And
Look,
and
I would love for the fucking nude pic of me like lifting a fucking 25 on my dick. Like that'd be fucking fantastic. That'd send me through the fucking stars. Just curl the 25 with my fucking penis. Go ahead, fucking share that all you want. I don't give a shit. Fuck it, I'll be happy.
I don't know. I definitely don't think this is definitely something that I think maybe once there have been reliable, because there's definitely going to be one version of this like surgical chip that like, guess what, the battery explodes like a MacBook that's been alive for too long, and it's like, whoops.
Inside your fucking head.
Yeah,
definitely that danger. Fuck that.
Also, just the thought of a battery in your fucking brain, dude. Like, what the fuck? How are you okay with that?
That's so cool, man. You get your brain charged.
Do you understand? How do you charge it?
I don't know. Fucking whatever activates in your fucking brain.
Bro, if
your
they ever
brainstem.
If they ever figure
you have
out,
to put like you have to put like a little yarmulke hat that's like a wireless charging station.
Oh my
Hell
god!
yeah.
You gotta
You'd
wear a
be a fucking-
yarmulke, and the Jewish people win. At the end, we're all pretty much Jewish.
we're gonna get the Shapiro model. I'm down with that, dude.
Oh my god! If Ben Shapiro got kicked in the mouth and his face turned into a shoe, I'd be fucking happy.
Yeah, it's very, very edgy.
It's not even edgy. I just don't like that guy.
Activate
edgy.
wet ass pussy.
Oh my
Error.
God.
No wet ass pussy found.
None. Yeah.
He reminds me of that. Maybe this is a very specific thing to my family, but when I was young in my Hispanic household, my grandmother had this fucking cactus that would like, it was like a toy cactus that she would bring out every Christmas, and it would sing Feliz Navidad. And for some reason, Ben Shapiro reminds me of that because he's just like a very animatronic person. And he just sort of like exists in like, I've never seen him emote really, except for that like creepy laugh he did.
Yeah. Did you?
That was really the only time I've ever seen him emote.
He did do that opera singing, which was like people see, look at people, and you'll know this, Chris. There's people that they don't know what like real singing is. Like they like they're doing something and it passes off as like, oh, that's good. I'm like, no, you're just making loud noises and it sounds like doing like the or that doesn't mean you sound good. Like that's what Ben Shapiro was doing. And I was like, no, that's not. He's not fucking like he's not a tenor. Like he can't. It upset me that there was people like, oh, it sounds pretty good, and I'm like, God, listen to a Ben Shapiro album. On maybe Joe Budden will do a review on it. On his
I feel like Ben Shapiro's the kind of guy that holds the door open for girls, and then girls kind of just push him out the way. Like he's just the worst. He's just such a beta.
You know,
bottom.
When I was going to college, I held the door open for this chick because she was like at that point where it would have been awkward for me not to, and I got accosted for it.
What?
I remember being accosted for it. I remember she was like, I don't need you to hold the door open.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't need you to hold the door open for me. I was like,
oh,
what?
She was super empowered. That's why.
This was like 2012 too.
Super empowered.
This is 2012. This is like really before I was doing anything that was even related to this stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck was that? That was so baffling. I was just being a decent person.
Yeah, but she's just ultra empowered, bro. Like, she doesn't need it.
That's why I don't respect women.
Fuck empowerment, man.
If you respect...
No, hold on. Look. Empowerment is fucking stupid. Anything that you perceive as empowering could be empowering. I get empowered whenever people, like, try and criticize me on the internet and they're completely wrong about it because it just means that I get a free trouncing.
Very masturbatory.
That's empowering to me.
And I get empowered when people use the N-word. It just strengthens me. I rise up into the air like Dr. Fate in like freaking Injustice, and I'm like, yes.
It's just so weird that like just the word empowering is just so nebulous because it really just means you like it. You know, that's really what it means.
Actually, you want to hear something genuinely terrible? When people reveal the fact that I bother them, that shit empowers me, bro.
No, yeah, it's great.
That shit fucking elevates me to a new height where I'm like, yes.
You know what's funny though?
To me.
It's like I get a really big kick out of whenever someone criticizes me and then their audience doesn't agree with them, it's always the funniest shit. Like I remember, like I don't know if you know who the Surfs are.
Not exactly.
Do you know who the Surfs are, Derek?
I'm not sure. No, I don't think so.
They're just this political podcast. I think they're like really, 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 really left. I think like almost communist.
Are they called the New Surfs?
It's called the Surfs. It's called the Surfs TV.
What's the New Turks? Probably I'm thinking of the New Turks.
You're probably thinking of the Young Turks.
The Young Turks. There you go.
Yeah. No, that's not it. But
the Surfs.
They had this thing where like because I went on Vosh's stream and I was just talking to Vosh about like some stuff. That was like one stream like a couple months ago, and then the Surfs were like, I don't know if the Chris Ray Gun redemption arc can said to have really started if he's making videos mentally diagnosing trans people. And it was because of that video I made about the deer girl.
Oh.
Where I said because she was acting like a power-hungry lunatic,
it has nothing to do
crazy.
It has nothing to do with her being trans.
Dude, even their audience was like, nah, he wasn't calling her crazy because she's trans, dude. Like I think you're wrong. Like even his own audience. And I was like, I love this.
That's beautiful.
I love it when this shit happens. And it happens a lot.
It does because you realize that a lot of these people, I'll never forget, and I can't remember if it was, I don't know, I can't remember her name. It doesn't matter. But she was one of the that would probably be very close with the Surfs or, you know, those type of people that they're just a little bit too radical. They're too balls deep in their ideals. And, they're like, this lady was collecting all these thumbnails of like these reactionary takes on a subject. And I can't remember. I wish I remember what it was, but I was included in it. It might have been, it actually might have been Batwoman, the CW show. It might have been because of that. And a lot of people were like, oh, this is the worst thing, blah, blah, blah. They're like screaming. And my take was, I don't like CW shows. Not really. Why am I going to get angry over this shit that I'm not going to watch? I had no intention on watching it. I don't care. And then so there were some people that mostly agreed with me, but then there were some people that were like, but they're taking over, you know, the reactionary take. And
they're taking over. The women are taking over.
Something. That's so ridiculous.
The culture is in this, and it's an agenda. That's the word I'm looking for. It's an agenda. And
here are some of the most SJW moments in Avengers: Infinity War. And I gotta say, I don't know why all these women are fighting alongside each other when women are supposed to be bitches in the kitchen.
Damn, bro, that's powerful.
I know who that is.
It's relatable. It's relatable.
Of course you know who that is, because it can only be one person.
To be bitches in the kitchen.
Well, I mean,
God,
there's two people.
Shit.
There's one person that, I mean, that's definitely him, his cadence and everything, but there's one other YouTuber that just, let me tell you something. One of the other reasons why I don't like, here's the thing. I'm going to eventually leave. I'm going to abandon my main channel. There's stuff that I like doing on it that's still fun. But ultimately, one of the main reasons, and I don't talk about it yet because I'm not leaving yet, but people like, oh my God, I can't remember his name. The guy that you were just making fun of.
No bullshit.
No bullshit. People like No Bullshit and people like The Quartering. They ruined this genre for me. Because they've taken everything they can find and make it some type of reactionary bullshit where it's like, where there's no need to say anything. Like, I started just noticing that, like, say, for example, when Mortal Kombat 11 came out and there was people that were freaking out. Okay, there's people freaking out about the whole microtransaction type thing. I understand that. But then there was people like, it's so woke. And I examined it. I'm like, there's a couple of things that are weird, but like, I shrugged my shoulders overall. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Like, there's not an agenda in everything. It's just some people were like, I like this. I'm going to put this in the game. And you just happen to not like it that much. It doesn't mean that there's something behind it. Like, there's some puppet master shit. I don't know, dude. So, like,
and even honestly, even if there was, to me, it's honestly, like, to me, the opinion has always been like, if people want to do something, then they should be able to do it, and they shouldn't be bullied into having their own version of whatever they want to do changed.
Exactly.
Because it's ultimately like their show or their movie or their game to make. Like, if you wanted to make a super, super left-wing, like, woke social justice game, I think you should be able to do that, and I think it should be fine, as long as you're not being pressured to make it, or as long as you're not being pressured out of ideas. You know, like, if somebody was like, trying to make a really woke game, and then like some company was like, oh, this is too woke for us. I would be annoyed by that, because that's stifling creative freedom, and that's always been my opinion.
Yeah.
It just so happens that like early on, it was a lot of like video games that were being changed to appeal to the kind of like super sensitive, like, oh, there's too many scantily clad women in this, how bad? And it's like, well, they want to make that, so let them make it.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's still the logic still applies the other way. Like it's
yes,
they shouldn't be bullied into changing their vision just because it might upset people.
Yeah, remember I remember people that were freaking out about Cyberpunk, like, oh, you could be like trans or have all these different gender or whatever, and I was like, why? It's a fucking video. Why do you care remotely? And the type of creatures that I've made by playing RPGs. I'm like, it's some of the funnest thing about it.
It's just people just feel threatened by stuff like that. It's just they're just threatened by the idea that like, oh, they're going to try to make this everything. Is like, no, it's not everything. It's this thing. And if you have a problem with it, then just ignore the medium overall. But you don't have to be mad about the fact that somebody made something the way they wanted to make it. It's their creation, It's
confusing to me in the case of Cyberpunk, because the entire genre of Cyberpunk is based in like transhumanism.
Sure.
Like the whole point of Cyberpunk as a genre is this generalized concept that you can just sort of customize yourself to your liking, and and people are essentially machines, and you can swap out parts and be whatever the hell you want to be, and like that's kind of of all the things to have that option, Cyberpunk makes the most sense.
Yes.
Like I feel like it might be a little weird in like Skyrim or something, but like even then it's like whatever, it's there, like it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But it fits perfectly with Cyberpunk.
It totally fits. I agree totally.
It's very, very, very weird.
And you know what I thought? I thought options. The more options, the better. That's what I thought. My take was always, oh, I have more options to do shit. And then usually that makes people a lot more happy, because then they can have all these different outcomes, all these different looks or whatever. I remember playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and all the hardcore Assassin's Creed fans, they didn't like the game because it's so different. But that's why I liked it, because I'm so bored of that fucking franchise. But one of the cool things, they adapted a lot of those type of choices and things that you can do from a lot of the best RPGs. And it became really fun. But one thing, they got a huge amount of backlash, because in one of the DLCs or whatever, they took the choice away, where it seemed like you had the choice of like, there was this guy that you could go with, and maybe you're going to start a family or something, and say, Cassandra was a lesbian. I was like, no, I ain't touching you. I was only banging chicks. And so,
of course,
they still made you bang and have a kid. And I was like, what the fuck? And so I looked at, because I was late to the party, I was Googling it, and people were furious because they're like, what are you doing? Where's my options? And so my point is, people love the options. I don't understand why you don't have to be, you can be a man. You can probably be a burly man in Cyberpunk with some robot shit. Like,
we've had
the option. Your dick.
No, hold on. We've had the option to play as furries in Skyrim and like Elder Scrolls for fucking nearly 20 years. There are cat people, there are fucking werewolves, there are reptile people. If you can accept that, I don't know. I just don't get it.
Yeah. And something else is interesting to me. I didn't see any backlash in Street Fighter 4 when Poison was introduced, because Poison's a trans woman.
Yeah, she is trans woman, right?
Yeah, she is.
I forgot. I remember hearing
is.
that from I remember hearing about that in like Alpha, and I think Third Strike, and I was like, really?
She was always that way, right?
Hugo, right? She's with Hugo, right?
It's
the giant dude, like the gigantic guy she's with.
They're together. I don't know the lore of that.
I don't know if they're together, but she was like a part of his character. Like in 3, they would be shown together.
Interesting. Okay. Well, yeah, they made, and it's not like, it wasn't and I could be wrong. Somebody could correct me. But in my opinion, it wasn't like a retroactive thing where they're like, oh, by the way, it was the creator saying, oh, Poison is a trans woman. Like when they introduced her as a playable character. And, I didn't, maybe I missed the backlash, but I didn't fucking see shit, man.
I'm sure there was like a handful.
There was
of
probably
people, but, like,
a couple, right? But there
yeah,
wasn't.
that's different. That's different than some Looney Tune on Twitter being like Samus is trans or something.
Samus is trans.
Yeah, it's the old. And so to my original point, I am kind of tired of being lumped in with those two fucking people that we mentioned, that they make content every day for the sake of making content, because it's about money, right? And feeding the outrage machine. Where I made things because, number one, if I can make fun of it, let's try to make something. Let's try to make fun of it. It wasn't about being angry. It wasn't about being like, I want you to leave this video being furious. Like, there was only a handful of times where there was something that I actually believed in. I thought this was really annoying and I need to be serious about it. No jokes, but
very rare.
So typically trying to, like, you know, lighten the mood, even if it's something that is a little bit nuts. Like when we saw all those videos of like the I call them progressive ideologues, because that's what they really are, but they were called the SJWs. When all of those like crazy, the screaming and all that shit was funny. It wasn't like, it wasn't like, oh my God, America's turning into a cesspool or whatever. It was just like, no, let's make fun of this stupid shit. It's fun.
Because it's stupid, honestly.
Yeah. And somewhere along the line, the people that are making just accounts just posting every day, they're looking for anything to be outraged on. I'm like, dude, I don't want to be around you people. You guys, you poison the well. It's not fun anymore. And
no, I totally,
I feel you.
I totally agree with you. Where it's like, it's because I think the difference is just how seriously some people began to take what was initially just supposed to be jokes.
Yeah.
It's very weird. It's kind of like it actually mirrors a lot of what you see kind of happening on late night sometimes, where like, late night used to be this thing where like, it was political in the sense where they would make jokes about politicians and like, they would occasionally like interview a politician and like talk about it there. But like now it's like you go on to, Colbert's late night show and just the opening monologue it's not really funny. It's just like kind of moral grandstanding. And it's like, hey, look at how good of a person I am. And it's like, it's kind of the same thing here where it's like, look at this cartoon that has, I don't even know, like liberal leanings. How awful! I'm going to clutch my pearls, and it's just like, look at how good of a person I am that I'm standing up to this. And it's like calm down, dude. I think, like you mentioned, no bullshit in the quartering. No bullshit, I think, is infinitely worse.
Well, I think he's also just his brain is melted.
He is remarkably stupid. Jeremy,
he's a businessman.
Jeremy, I'm conflicted on because like I've spoken to Jeremy and I like Jeremy, like in private and in person.
Yeah.
Like he's a chill dude. Like I understand what he's doing, and I think even he knows
he's a businessman.
He's a business person. He knows what he's doing,
yeah.
and he expects that people understand that too. And I'm not as annoyed with him.
I agree.
Because like, I totally,
yeah, you're right.
I totally understand that it's still the same thing ultimately at the end of the day, because it's kind of like whether or not you're doing something like unironically or ironically, you're kind of still doing it. But at least there's like some semblance of transparency with Jeremy. But like, no bullshit. It's just.
He's genuinely...
No bullshit might be one of the stupidest people I've ever seen, to the point where I worry about whether or not making fun of him is ableism.
That's fucked up. That's fucked. Dude. That is fucked up. Holy shit.
I genuinely think he might need help. Maybe someone should get in contact with people close to him. Dude, because it really is, and I say this with no exaggeration. He is the stupidest person I've ever seen. Like I've ever seen. I've lived in Manhattan. I've seen people eating out of sewage drains.
Oh my God. Fuck.
And
where?
at least
that's some Manhattan shit, dog. That's not the Bronx. That's definitely some Manhattan. You fucking all the fumes getting eaten out of garbage.
I'm really sorry to say that it was the Bronx.
Manhattan's not the Bronx, bro.
No, I mean, what the fuck? Not everybody in this podcast listening to this is familiar with the locales of New York. Manhattan's just a general New York City.
Okay, I guess. So people have
I wouldn't say somebody. I wouldn't say to people who aren't familiar with New York that like, oh yeah, I ran into this dude in Bed-Stuy. You know, like they have no fucking clue what that means.
No, because I have no idea what the fuck that is.
That's insane to me. But I guess I'm from that city, so.
But when I said Manhattan, you assumed just New York City, right?
It's like people that are not familiar with SoCal, they would consider Burbank, L.A. It's L.A. County, but it's not.
That's true. You're right.
Burbank's
it's not the city proper.
Yeah, Burbank is a fucking place where people have a zip code and shit. So, I mean, it's to the point where Brits would fly over here and we'd be at VidCon, Anaheim, which is in Orange County, and they'd be like, oh yeah, we're in L.A. And I'm like, oh yeah, fine, whatever. I'm not even gonna fucking say anything.
Oh,
like,
exactly.
Whatever. Yeah.
It's entirely different. But I still say to people that like, yeah, I live in L.A. because it's just easier.
It's just easier. It's just like I'll give you a little regional background. I live here. But then when you get from the area, because that's what we would do the same shit too. I remember, we went to go see Conan in 2010 and it was the guy that was like the pre-show prepper dude. And he was asking us certain things. He was talking to my friend Wyatt and like, where's your, he's like, where you guys from? And then we're like, oh, we're from, North, OC, like in La Habra. And he's like, oh, so what is that? Like 714? And then we're on the border of LA County, so we actually have this 562 area code that's shared with like Long Beach and shit like that. And we just gave him the sour face because we're very territorial. We're like, what the fuck? We're like 562, and like, oh, dude, don't fucking shoot me, goddamn. But it's just like it's such a weird, specific thing that if you're not from that region, no one would give a fuck. Like,
that's such an old school. That's such an old school thing too. Like the area code supremacy.
Yeah, of course,
dude. It's still
it was just neighborhood supremacy, but the area code's what you defined it as. So it was like, yeah, where you from? Like, I'm from the 718. Fool, what about you? Like 718. I'm from the 917, and it's like, oh, what's good?
Yeah,
and then a little fight breaking out because you guys have different numbers. You live in the same city.
Yeah, and then you have all the 212s watching like, this ain't gonna be pretty, huh?
This ain't gonna be pretty, man. We gotta get out of here.
I'm ashamed to admit. I'm ashamed to admit that. Oh, go ahead.
What? You got into an area code fight? That's some Cali shit, dude. That's really some California shit.
I still have pride in my 560 area code. It's I can't completely shake it, man. When I see the numbers, like say for example, this is stupid. When I see like I'll make a tweet or something and then I'll catch it. If I catch it and it has 562 lights, I'll like take a screenshot. I'm like, oh hell yeah. Just like there's it's ingrained in me, dude, because we're so like that. And I was just passing by this truck. It says this dude's from Oakland, so he's repping the Raiders all hard, and it has, I forgot the area code, but the area code's on his fucking truck. It's on his truck. Like, it's just like it's a weird thing that I still don't shed. And, I recognize how stupid it is, how stupid and pointless it is. But I just
boomer shit, bro. But I respect it, honestly. I fuck with it. I
understand that. Like, I do know, like, I've seen,
I have a few friends back home that are like that.
I have nostalgia for my, New York area. I still have the same number. This is still the same cell phone number I had back when I lived in Yonkers. So I still have, I still have a 91.
I have my upstate New York one. I have my 845 one still.
Guys, I'm so
and people call it the 845, literally.
Yeah, 845. Yeah, people do that. It's I've moved too much to also really care about that. But like I understand.
I should be fair. Like that because I've had multiple. I've had 714. I've had Arizona area codes because I lived in Arizona briefly, and I'm gonna tell it bothered me, it's a stupid thing to even think about, like actually being outside of myself and thinking about this. I'm like, this sounds so fucking embarrassing to people like that don't actively do this shit.
It's embarrassing, but you know what? I respect it.
Yeah,
like somebody being able to shit on their own face. It's like, that's disgusting and embarrassing. You shouldn't be proud of that. But also, I respect the fact that you can shit on your own face. That's kind of wild.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got some questions here. Some of these.
My God.
That was
painful.
disgusting. That was
Wasn't that wild?
That sounded like GERD, man. That's not like you had fucking acid reflux. That was gross.
That wasn't a burp. That was something that was in your stomach that wasn't ready that you forced out of yourself.
Yeah, I actually spat up something that looks fetal.
Oh, you eat babies now?
I mean, no,
It
but I
might
just
be
made
cum.
one.
Maybe cum spitting up fucking cum.
Incubated cum.
You spit your own cum upon yourself.
That's so
God,
fucking
damn.
disgusting.
All right.
That actually grossed me out.
All right, so we got some questions here. Some of these are actually carried over from last week because we couldn't get to them in time. Just wanted to get to them because they were pretty good. First question comes from Ransom Your Mom.
Nice.
He wrote in, he says, I'm a big fan from Malaysia.
Oh,
Nice.
Which is insane.
I know somebody
Did
over there that's a piece of shit.
they ever figure out what happened to that plane?
They didn't, dude.
The one that
Yo.
was missing over there?
Yeah.
The Malaysia Airlines.
They found
That's
pieces
crazy.
of I think they might have found pieces of it. I think that's it. I
They got
probably
thinking
be
about
wrong.
Elder God, bro.
It's the damnedest thing. They found the plane in the ocean, but it had 4 more wings.
What?
Strangest thing.
That shit scared me. That shit sent a
Anyway.
fucking shiver through me. I was like, 4 more?
That's
more
like a
years?
scary story.
4 more years? Oh shit.
All right, so
Oh wow,
I'm a
flights
big
to
fan.
Sorry, go ahead.
Wait, what were you saying?
I was like, flights to Malaysia, 3:38. You want to go?
No.
Come on, man.
I'm a big fan from Malaysia, and I've always wondered, is bullying the way it's portrayed on popular TV, wedgies, wet willies, locker shoving, etc., actually real? And if not, what were the common bullying tactics deployed by hormone rage devils, and how were you scarred when you were young? Great love. I've always wondered this too, because like I've never seen anybody shoved in a locker or given a wedgie ever.
I think
I've
I know
seen
the
kids-
answer to that.
I've seen like real fucked up bullying, but like
I think I know the answer to that.
like
I think it's regional. I think it's
it might be regional.
because I knew somebody when I went on this tour in 2009, and I met this girl in Michigan, and we were talking enough to the point where she started telling me about like bullying from the Midwest or whatever you fucking consider all that shit, Michigan, Wisconsin, all that, and it's all of that bullshit you see on TV. Like it's the shoving in lockers and all that dumb shit. I was like, what the dude? People don't do that shit in California. I was like, I've never seen anything like that. So I think now, Sweeney, you may have some extreme shit, but maybe is that some New York shit?
I've seen some fucked bullying, bro. I seen fucked bullying when I lived in the Bronx when I was like a kid. I was like, what the? I remember there was one, this is the most fucked up story ever. It was in PS freaking, what you call it, 53. A fucking 5th grader beat up 3 fucking 3rd graders. And I was just like, what the fuck? He beat him up and then he took their shoes. And I was like, what's wrong with him? He can't even fit those shoes.
I never understand. the shoes things, it's just disrespect, isn't it? Isn't that? I thought that was a point.
Yo,
of
he's
it.
gonna have to walk through the fucking disgusting ass bathroom in a fucking New York City fucking school with no fucking shoes. I also seen kids like get their pants done, like they beat their pants off them. Like one kid fucks sign up in gym class and like he goes back to the lockers and they beat him up and take his pants. So he has no like real pants. He has to just wear his basketball shorts that are all stinky.
Yeah. It's a little
It's more
different.
beating up. It's more beating up than it is like that stuff. Like usually kids get like beat up.
It's just more violence.
Yeah, right.
But like the thing that's funny about it is like, it really does seem like these kinds of things, these like weird like petty like wedgies, wet willies, fucking locker shoving. It really does feel like it's something that you would do if you lived in a suburb, because in a suburb, in a suburb you can't easily mobilize. You know what I mean? Like when you live in a city and you've been bullied in that way, you've been shoved in a locker, you go home, you walk across the street and you're already with your friends. And you're like, how are we gonna take this fucking guy out?
That's true.
You know how?
I mean, I don't know about that. I never thought about that.
But in the suburbs, it's like you go home and then you just you look outside your window and you whisper to a deer that's like prancing by you, maybe. But like that's all
Deer,
you're doing.
Mr. Deer, they've bothered me yet again. Like I can run into their mom while she's driving, and I can make it so they'll never bother anyone ever again. It's like, no, Mr. Deer, your life means far too much to me.
The deer offers you to kill. The deer,
willing to
the deer
sacrifice
arches.
himself.
The deer cranes its neck over to you like one of those the Last of Us clickers. It just like creaks over to you and says, "I can help you."
What do you need from me?
I can help you.
No, he says, "I can help you." He scampers off, and the next day he doesn't come into school, and there's a car wreck in the parking lot because a deer fucking sumo slammed a fucking car with the bully in it.
A deer fucking swanton bombed the fucking car.
That is a noble deer.
But yeah,
deer's
I
fine,
assume Derek's right. It's real, but like I've never seen it. Yeah. I only saw like the generic kind of violent stuff that
it was violence, or it was either violence or like a lot of like verbal abuse, like really putting people down.
It was just violence or teasing. Like I don't really remember being really bullied. Like people would just call me names, but that was really it. Like nobody ever like physically accosted me. In Catholic school, I remember being lifted by my tie once.
What the fuck?
I remember. Like I was like in, I think maybe second grade, and some like sixth grader or fifth grader was like lifting me up by my tie.
And you were like, "Can you put me down?" I guess.
Yeah, like because the uniforms were so tight that like even lifting me up by my tie couldn't really choke me.
It was so form fit.
Because it was so form fit. So I was just like, "Can you just? I'm really uncomfortable. Can you like put me down?" But that was really the only time that I remember anything like that looked like a fucking John Hughes movie style bullying. That was like the only time that I remember that happening.
Shit happened to me definitely, but like it happened to me for a little while. Like as you guys probably wouldn't believe now, when I was younger, I was actually extremely like non-violent and nice. I was like really not like a bad kid. And what happened was in the Bronx, they'll kill you if you're like that. They will. It's like LA probably too. They'll kill you. If you don't have the fighter's instinct, they will bully you to the fucking end of time. So I remember right before, it was like when I was in like sixth grade, I went to Diana Sands 339. We were walking up past, I think it was Claremont Park. It was down past Webster Avenue. I was walking, some kid pushed me over and I was going to cry. And I saw my cousin. He was like, "Get up and fight him, or else I'm going to fuck you up." And I was like, "Oh man, I don't want to fight some guy." So I fought him. I beat the kid up. And then I loved how good it felt. And I started being a bad kid. It felt so good because for so long I was getting bullied. And I was just like, for as long as I was getting made fun of for not being mean, then I started doing it. And it felt like a drug. Then my grandma was like, "We have to move him away from here. He's going to end up in jail." So we moved upstate.
Oh, wow.
That's so funny.
Interesting.
I wasn't the only reason why, but definitely me and my cousin being absorbed by the hood mentality of New York City was affecting why my grandma moved, definitely.
I think that's why
she was just like, "We gotta go."
Yeah, I think that's why my mom moved out, because she lived in LA like her whole life. And then I think she was like, "Yeah, I don't want to, I want to make sure that my kids are out of that environment." And because I think about that, I was like, I wonder what the fuck I wonder what I would have turned out if I grew up in South Central. And
I would have been in jail probably, or dead.
Yeah, maybe.
I'll be very real.
But my mom also told me though, because I asked her that, because my dad died when I was 4, and I asked her, I was like, "Yo, did we move after that? Like, that's when you plan to move?" She told me, and which I'm so glad this didn't happen, because she said like, "No, we were actually thinking about moving to this place called Menifee, which is just a bunch of suburban pasty white folks." And I was like, "Oh my God, thank God I didn't live there, because I would probably be the biggest piece of shit like Lord Byron. I don't know." Like
Lord Byron?
Like I would just be like some, I don't know what the fuck I'd be like, because I grew up with a lot of Mexicans. I grew up with a lot of people that just came from Sonora, and I was chilled. I love where I grew up, and I can't imagine being who knows, like, what would I be fucking like in polos, and would I be playing fucking what is that shit called, lacrosse? Cricket? Yeah, like that, dude. I would be so. I mean, how could I be mad because I'd be that person? But maybe inside I'd be dying or something.
I love that lacrosse is like a fate worse than death.
Lacrosse.
that
My niece from the hood
Bro,
plays lacrosse, so I don't judge lacrosse. But if you play like polo or some shit, you're a fucking pastry.
I think it's different when like women play like sports like that or fratty bro stuff. I usually applaud that, but when I see like, I don't want to sound like, I don't know, I don't want to be discouraging, but like seeing like, if I saw like niggas playing lacrosse, I'd be like, dude, what are you doing?
I'd respect him because I'd be like, he's obviously gonna be the best. He's obviously the best on the court.
That's
good,
very true.
Like, good for you. Good for you, my young king.
It's such
Tear them down wherever you can. Tear them down whenever you can. Pick your. We are allowed in this game to play against them. We must destroy them, allowing them to know the status quo. We are better athletes. This is because of you.
I remember
distinctly
being furious when I moved upstate because
same.
I remember being like, because I was like, oh man, there's nothing around. Because I was just getting to that age where I could start walking around, properly by myself. So like the idea that like, oh, you can finally explore this place that you've grown up in by yourself and on your own, and you can like go buy shit. Now that you can do that, we're going to move to a place where you need a car to do everything.
Facts.
So that's like, fuck, that's like 6 more years that I have to wait before I have any semblance of freedom. It was like the worst shit.
For me, I moved upstate, but I moved to Poughkeepsie first. And the Poughkeepsie's kind of cool. It reminds me of the Bronx. Is like a little less, a little more crackheady and a little smaller. And I was like, this is fine. I don't mind this at all.
Poughkeepsie's kind of cool.
And then I remember we moved to Fishkill, where I was around a bunch of Asian and Indian people, and I was it was like me and like 3 other black friends. Turns out the Indian kids were hella fucking dope, and the Asian kids were fine. So, and there was a bunch of like very prissy white people, and I hated that shit. And my grandmother was just like, I moved here so you wouldn't become a statistic. And I was like, Grandma, joke's on you. I'm still definitely a statistic.
Everybody's a statistic.
Yeah,
that's how,
honestly.
that's how statistics work.
At least not a dead statistic, I guess.
Yeah, whatever.
At the very least.
If I was dead, I'd be a piece, You're gonna be worrying about bullshit anymore.
That's a good point.
Next question,
James
Chris.
Passmore wrote in. He says, what's a show, movie, video game, etc. that you thought would be cringe, but you actually found yourself enjoying? By the way, I asked this because I recently started watching Naruto, and it's pretty neat. You're not welcome here anymore, James Passmore.
I agree.
Thanks for your support.
I mean, I wouldn't say you're not welcome in here, but it's not that good of a show. There's better. There's better. What show that I thought was going to be kind of lame? I thought Castlevania was going to be kind of lame. And then I watched it, and I was like,
just talking about that yesterday.
Fuck. I was like, holy fuck. This shit thwacks.
Yeah. I was talking about passion, dude. I was talking about like, I love when artists, you can tell like there's a difference between someone making a paycheck and people creating what they want. Mm-hmm. And I was like, Castlevania is one of those things that has no business being that good. You know what I mean? It's just like, what this is the fucking score, everything about it. I was like, even I remember the score. I remember like tracks from it, and that rarely happens in like anime or anything like that I fucking watch. Or I'm just like, I was like, holy shit.
Totally. I think Dragon Ball Z was the only thing that I remembered as an anime that like I could remember individual like songs from because it was just so fucking insane.
I was a weeb, so I remember like a lot of the anime music I used to listen to. Like Cowboy Bebop and stuff like that. Like I remember that shit. I remember
that was
like,
a good theme song.
Garen
but, like, I mean,
the score is good too, dude.
We're not talking about the
score is really good.
But the score is good. But could you remember like a specific track like by name or like
not by name, but I could probably remember the scenario in which it was played.
Okay, well, fair enough. Yeah,
that's fair enough. I gotta say, like, I think that was my answer too. Like Castlevania, I was really not. We watched it out of peak curiosity.
Out of
I was like, there's no way this is gonna be good because it's a video game adaptation. It's
animated.
It's an anime adaptation of a video game. It's like you couldn't make something that sounds as a premise really terrible.
Yeah, you couldn't have sold that idea to me.
Yeah, and it was on Netflix too, which they were like recently running off of the immense high from making a terrible Death Note live action. So it's like, I don't know, man. That show really fucking surprised the shit out of me.
It knocked my
I thought
pants
kind
off.
of the same thing. I thought the same thing about Breaking Bad, to be honest. Like when I didn't start watching Breaking Bad until like the last season was beginning to air. because everybody had sang its praises for years, and I was like, oh my god, everybody's talking about this fucking show, and I just it just looks like a bald man going like wiling out. Like I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to be. Like, what's so interesting about this? And then the second I was like, oh, it's the final season, and it's like, all right, well, if this is the last one, I guess I've got nothing to do. I'm depressed and single, and I live in my parents' house. I guess I'll watch this.
Damn, bro, that's life.
That's
and I
real
watched
real talk.
And I watched all 5 seasons in like the span of like a week. And I was just like, this is fucking incredible. This is like way better. I didn't think it would be cringe, but I didn't think I would like it because I typically hate dramas. Like, I'm not really into dramas at all.
The same thing with me.
I'm more of a comedy
Game of
person.
Thrones. I thought Game of Thrones, because that's before I really admitted to my true like liking of fantasy, because I thought fantasy was for fucking lunatic weirdos, which I am. So I was like, I don't know why I don't like this, but I started watching Game of Thrones, and then Game of Thrones helped me go back and read the Tolkien books, which also helped me understand fantasy in general, which is like actually like not exactly fantasy, but like magic and high magic. I actually really think that is like such a very insanely good basis for fictional stories. Like, I think it's super, super, super good. And it made me also fall in love even more with like Destiny and even Halo. Cause Halo has its low magic moments, and it has its like ridiculous, like what the fuck space rending bullshit moments where it's just like, wow. So definitely Game of Thrones helped me really explore my love for fantasy. Cause I didn't think I was going to like it. I was like, this is a bunch of white men.
How'd you like that ending?
Of what? Game of Thrones? It hurt. But it made sense. It was a bunch of, Game of Thrones was a bunch of white men fighting with swords. And I was like, I don't want to see white men doing good. That's been everything I've seen in every form of media my whole life. I'm done looking at this.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. What did you mean by it made sense?
The ending of Game of Thrones?
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
Particularly Daenerys' behavior made sense.
Yeah.
It did. She was, the whole time. What? Okay, Derek, listen to me.
Please explain to me.
Derek, listen to me. Okay, look, I'm not saying it was done well, but I'm saying her going crazy and burning down King's Landing kind of made sense because of the fact that the whole entire series, from the very beginning, everyone was praising her for breaking shackles and destroying evil. And in her mind, the freaking, what you call it, the Lannisters and King's Landing was the ultimate evil to her.
No, so the
her
people weren't.
No, when like, okay, I understand it was a bit of a radical way of it being done.
No, that's not. That doesn't make sense. That's
how
the
does
entire
it not make sense?
It's the entire antithesis of her character,
crazy,
bro.
Have you read any of the books?
Dude, if you descend into madness, that sounds plausible. You
it happened
don't
too
go
fast.
night and fucking day.
It happened too fast.
That means it doesn't make sense.
Wrong. Don't be wrong.
That,
it doesn't.
it doesn't make sense.
Ending reaction was extreme. But I think
it was extreme to the point where it was completely unbelievable.
Look, because I don't like how it happened. Okay, go speak your piece. Speak your piece.
No, because you said it made sense. Her snapping instantaneously when everything before that would suggest that she wants to save the people makes zero sense.
I mean, that's not exactly true. If you watch
is
season
exactly true.
No, season 5, bro. She was going to burn down all of Marine if Tyrion didn't stop her, bro. You see, you didn't pay attention, my guy. You weren't paying attention, my lord.
She didn't.
She was going to burn it down. She was going to burn down all of Marine, bro. And Tyrion was like, maybe not like that.
She makes threats, a lot of them, that she did not carry out.
But the thing is that no one was there to stop her at that moment. No one was there. That's why Jon was like, what the fuck? What is she doing? Tyrion was like, what is she doing?
She had no reason to do it. That's the problem. It's not that there was some type of threat. She didn't need to do it at any point.
I think that her destroying King's Landing was extreme, but I think her like going crazy has been hinted at the whole time because the idea was like there was always the idea of there was one.
No, there was the idea that she's yes, there's an idea that she the Mad King. I know what you're saying.
But that's been alluded to the whole series. That didn't pop out of nowhere.
Her character was supposed to be she's different. That was her brother.
No, the character. The character was that Jon was different. Because that's the whole idea. The whole time is that Jon was a Targaryen.
Now you're just.
I'm not even reaching, bro. This is what happened.
You weren't supposed. Nobody's supposed to know that, so you can't even.
Everybody knew that from the beginning, dog. You're telling me I knew that from season 2.
How did you know that?
I was watching season 2 and I was like, that's kind of funny.
No, tell me how you knew that. Tell me how you knew that.
Because that was speculation from the very beginning of the series, dude. No cap.
Speculation.
Me and my friend, me and all my homies that watched it, we were like, he's probably a Targaryen.
You're talking about speculation. I'm talking about as the way the story's mapped out. In that world, absolutely nobody knows, not as a person on the outside looking in and consuming media, bro. We're talking about making sense in that fucking world, dude.
Bro, I think her going crazy was hinted at several times. It was not surprise to us. Her behavior has always been kind of radical from the very jump. It's been radical. She wasn't murderous, don't get me wrong, but she was kind of radical.
That's the whole point, dude. Like, you can't just say, like, oh, somebody had the potential to be murderous, and then it's like, if you started murdering people, Sweeney, there's no part of me that would be like, oh, that makes sense. Even though you talk all this shit, I know you're bullshitting. But if you actually started killing people, I would be taken back. Like, I can't believe this person actually had the potential to be doing this shit, because people that do kill have been killing. They've secretly been doing other things about murdering animals, whatever the case is, doing things that where it leads up to like, oh yeah, this person actually is a murderer, and I understand. There's no real look at. Hold on, Sweeney. The final point is because we don't need to argue too much about this.
Gotcha.
George R.R. Martin had content for like years, much more that he wanted them to flesh out. The reason this happened was because D&D were tired. They checked out. The reason, and you saying that this makes sense, is the antithesis of why it happened. It didn't make sense. This show was supposed to be fleshed out much more. And they just went like this. We're doing this, and then you're coming in and basicly defending their lazy bullshit by saying it makes sense. Because it doesn't. Because George R.R. Martin, the person that made this shit, would beg to differ.
Now let me.
Are you going to argue with the creator?
I've read an article where he actually agreed with the ending. He wasn't really super mad.
No, that's not what he said before. Because you know how people.
This happened.
You know how people. Do you know how people? Well, just like what's his name? Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill.
Yeah,
Mark Hamill was shitting all over Star Wars, but then for PR purposes was defending it. That's all that happened. Let
me explain. Let me explain my point. Just real quick. Now, the fact that Daenerys went crazy and burned down King's Landing was a reach. I was like, yo, this is kind of wild that she's like kind of doing this. The fact she destroyed everything and she went so overboard so fast is my problem. Which I agree with you. That's it. But in the epitome of her becoming crazy, her becoming maddened like many other Targaryens prior to her, wasn't that much of a reach for me. I have a problem with how it was executed.
Yes, I agree.
That's executed. That was execution. That was all it was problem. I was like, this was not executed well. It was too fast.
It's not. But why is it not executed well? Because they didn't want to do any more seasons.
Yeah, it was too quick. It was too quick of a descent.
In that context, it doesn't make sense. Because they didn't give enough time. Chronologically, it does not make sense because they just bullshitted. And so to me, it's like giving it a pass for bad fucking writing.
I'm not giving it a pass per se.
I have never, I don't know anything about this shit. But
you're confused. You were quiet. You were quiet for a while.
What do you think? What do you think?
Here's what I assume. I assume that, based on everybody's read of the situation, that the showrunners got really tired and they wanted to check out and do the Star Wars thing.
Facts.
And they didn't want to keep making Game of Thrones, especially if George R.R. Martin's not going to finish the damn books.
Big facts.
So they were just like, okay, so let's just end this real quick and move on. And because they wanted to move on, they didn't really care about the quality of the ending of the series, and they wanted to just get shit done really quick, and they accelerated past
the points where you're supposed to develop
a lot
her
of
becoming
key moments
crazy.
that would have been necessary to make the ending believable.
There you go. That's the problem with it.
So while that's my read as somebody who's never seen the show, but I would say that I feel like Derek is right, because if your character motivations are accelerated to the point where I know what both of you are saying. You're saying that it's not surprising that this character would have gone mad and done the crazy shit.
Which I actually agree. I agree.
But Derek, you're saying that it happened too quickly, and by virtue of it happening too quickly, it actually doesn't make sense, which I agree with. I think that's valid. I think just because something is predictable and because something happens to be going in a direction doesn't mean you can skip forward into that direction and have it still make sense.
I see it in the same line as...
I see it. I understand. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
and I can agree with it too.
I guess I see it in the same line as in The Last of Us Part 2 when Joel was just destroyed like immediately, where it's like we wouldn't have been surprised at all, or if anything happened, if it was fleshed out properly. So it was really maddening to me. And I'm sure you were still upset by it, Sweeney. So I think we kind of like
we argued about agreeing in different aspects.
We actually do agree, but it was just like it was kind of a the argument was kind of unnecessary, like because ultimately, like, yeah, I don't think anybody would have been surprised if there was enough signs that, like, oh shit, she's gonna snap at any moment instead of it just happening.
Like all that happened was
it should have happened slower. It's all in the exexecution. I think
the black girl got killed. Her dragon got killed. Her other dragon got killed.
Yeah, it's not enough to slaughter a
bunch of innocent people. Like they won the war. They won that war already. It was over.
It was over, and then she was just like, "I'm going to kill everybody in
like,
King's Landing." And I'm like, okay, that wasn't a good enough motivation to do that.
You know what's funny?
And then what they did with Jon at the end.
So hold on. I never saw a single episode of Game of Thrones. The only episode that I did see was that last episode. was that episode? So I was like, and I remember watching this like some blonde bitch on a dragon, burning down, fucking turning this city into Burning Man, and I remember just thinking like. The only thought that I had in my mind was like, so this one's, she's kind of a bitch, huh? That's my only read on that character at all.
For me, it was like the idea of the prophet of faith or prophet of truth talking about how he was going to glass a planet, and it was like, damn, who made him that mad? That was all I ever got out of that moment. Like, I remember hearing him say that, I will burn your planet to the surface, it's nothing but glass. And I was like, yo, who made him so upset? Who got him to the point where he was going to do that?
We got more questions, and I don't want to stay on Game of Thrones.
Well, I just want to say
I don't know anything about it.
I just want to say one last thing. It really upset me that as the seasons progressed, we didn't see Daenerys is naked nearly as much. That really upset me. All right, let's go.
I was okay with that. I saw her naked enough, you know.
No,
I'm alright with this. I'm alright with this.
Yeah, but see, you're not a pervert.
Is there anybody? Honestly, is there anybody in that show who at any point says, "Stop! You're violating the law"?
I feel like they probably do.
Brienne, I think maybe.
Brienne of Tarth.
That'd be really sad if they didn't.
No, I feel like one of the random guards said it. Ed Sheeran was in that season, in one of the seasons, and I was like, "What the fuck are you doing here?"
Christ.
Oh yeah,
Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, I was actually hoping they were going to decapitate him when he was singing.
I was hoping he would have died, bro. I was hoping someone would have cut. I was hoping someone would have chopped him in the neck, and then they would have kicked his head off with the fucking axe. Kick the axe and fucking jump his head off. All right,
let's move on. Let's not talk about beheading Ed Sheeran.
I'm in love with
his head's rolling down a hill and it's just singing, "I am not on my body." So stupid.
That shit was a fucking
all right,
flag.
Boopsy Joe wrote in. So, that's kind of like a gender neutral. I have no idea.
Yeah.
He or she wrote in. Says, "Hello, wastes of space. How does it personally feel to be called something IRL, something that you're not, i.e. commie, far right, far left, furry, furry?"
Damn.
I love how that's in there.
Right?
It's in there with communists. Mind-boggling, anger-inducing, frustrating. I'm not so...
I don't care.
It's more inconvenient to me. Because then I feel like I have to... if I'm in a social situation, I feel like I'm walking into a situation where people have assumptions. But aside from that, it's like... I don't know. It doesn't make me upset.
I just don't care, bro. I can't give a fuck about people calling me things I'm not. It's like, whatever.
Well, you shouldn't.
I was actually...
Oh, go ahead.
I was talking to Alana Pierce. I was talking to Alana Pierce a while ago, and she said something that I thought was kind of poignant, where it's like, you just got to let people be wrong about you. You know, where it's like, yeah,
very true.
You know, there's so many different versions of me that exist in people's heads that are just as real to them as like I am to me, really. And there's no way that you're going to be able to like correct every single misconception and like that would just drive you insane. So you just sort of have to be like, yeah, you know, people can be wrong about you, and that's fine. And if you're going to like try and set the record straight, you got to really pick your battles. As far as like, you know, if there's something like crazy, like illegal about what someone's saying, then yeah, by all means. If they're like literally slandering you or like accusing you of false actions that you haven't done, I would say that, yeah, totally, by all means, correct the record.
Sure. Put
them in their place. But if someone's just going to be like, this person's right wing, this person's like SJW, this person's commie, this person's whatever, I just can't even begin to give it the time of day, because I just know that I would go insane trying to rectify every single fake version of me in like thousands of people's heads.
Well, why you shouldn't do that is because those people, it's just proof that they don't watch your content, they don't know anything about you, and so they're not your demographic. You know, your demographic knows who you are, and that reminds me of Joe Rogan, where a lot of his podcasts, because he got interested, you can tell he got interested in our community for a while. That's when he started like messaging a lot of us. Yeah. And when everybody started accusing him, people that don't watch his podcast, when they started accusing him of being super ultra right wing and all this stuff, like Joe's just some fucking bald headed UFC guy or MMA commentator that has interesting conversations. And when you actually hear about his beliefs, he's pretty left. I would call him center left. There's some things that aren't completely left, but most of his normal shit. But the thing is, because of that, I can't even count how many times he would mention, oh, I'm this. Like, I swear I'm this. Like, he constantly defending himself instead of not giving a fuck, because your audience that listens to you, they know who you are. And so he started always being like, well, this and well, that and I believe in this. It was kind of like I would hear Dave Rubin do the same thing, but now I don't fucking believe him for a second. Where he'd be like, well, how could I be right wing when I'm gay and I'm this and I'm that? And I'm like, well, that shit doesn't, like, you're
it's literally identity politics.
Yeah, right. And I was like, whatever, idiot. Dude, you fucking that guy. He. We started. I made fun of him enough to the point where he unfollowed me, and I was just like,
"That's you fucking bully."
He unfollowed me immediately when the second I was like, "Hey, chill out on Twitter, dude." And that was
what a baby. I was like, you probably fucking talked about all these people whining and shit, like, oh, these snowflakes, and immediately. And I had a conversation with Steven Crowder one time, like 3 years ago or something. He's someone too that I was like, oh, this guy sucks, you know. But at the time, I didn't know him that well in 2017. And then when I started seeing like the type of shit that he was saying all the time, and I'm like, what's this guy's fucking angle? But anyway, recently he said something really stupid. Something about like any crime you commit, what is it? Emphasis on any, with it being in caps. Like you're non-peaceful if you commit any crime. And I just replied with like, oh, this is going to be an excellent addition to my Twitter trash series. And he unfollowed me because he used to follow me. I was just
I think he follows me still, even though I responded to that. I responded to that exact tweet. I said something like, yeah, all those violent jaywalkers are really giving us a hard time, or like something like that. Where it's like, can you imagine someone jaywalking and them just getting fucking gunned down by like a fucking helicopter turret?
No, somebody comes up to you and says, get on the fucking floor, and you're like, what? And then he shoots you. He shoots you dead, and he's like, he died for jaywalking. And then the people are
on the bodega across the street.
There are people people on Fox News talking about how dangerous you were because you jaywalked and why your death was just. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah. If a family of 4 plus a baby was driving in an SUV and had hit that man, do you know how high the casualties would have been that night?
Dude, it's so funny.
I support the officer.
I fucking love it.
It's fucking. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I love Fox News because like they just say shit that's just like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? Like, what is it? How insensitive can you be?
Fox News is old hat, man. Like, some of my earliest videos in like 2008 and 2009, the earliest commentary videos that I made, Leafy, the fucking godfather of commentary started in fucking 2016. Jesus fucking Christ. But yeah, like these commentary videos that I made in like 2008 were like almost like I focused almost exclusively on Fox News because there was so much coming out of Fox News that was just so hysterical.
Yeah.
Do you remember Sweeney that video? This wasn't Fox News exactly. This was like a Fox News subsidiary, so it wasn't like the Republican thing. It was just like Channel 5 News. Where like they were making the case that the Nintendo DS was a tool for pedophiles.
Yeah,
Hell
dude.
yeah.
Oh my god, we fucking clowned the fuck out of that. That was so ridiculous.
because their argument was that pedophiles driving could look over into people's cars, see children on their Nintendo DSs, and then PictoChat them while they were driving.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, you know.
Oh, that's hot.
The most hyper-specific scenario possible. And
That's
like...
Dog, when you, I was gonna say something fucked up. Never mind.
There's so many. Fox is so classic. Like I'm really nostalgic for Fox News because I really miss when they were the craziest that we had.
Yeah.
Because it was just so much fun because it was all these out of touch old like crusty people talking about shit that they very clearly didn't understand. One of my favorite things was like when the Mass Effect scandal happened, when Fox News did this whole story.
Oh, was that about
how,
fucking Liara and her ass?
Yeah, that was about the sex scenes that happened in Mass Effect, and like I remember the headline like it was yesterday. It was Sex Box, and and it was just this whole thing about all these old people talking about like, you know, how there's full nudity in the game and players can interact sexually with fully naked ladies, and then Jeff Keighley's on there defending it, and he's like, and as somebody was like, I can't remember who it was. Cooper Lawrence, I think her name was. I somehow remember this person's name. But she was like, and keep in mind, it's a man in this game deciding what kind of sexual exploits he wants with as many women he wants. And Jeff Keighley was like, actually, you can play as a woman or a man in Mass Effect. Cooper, have you ever played Mass Effect? And she goes, no. And she's talking about the game on the news as somebody who's like informed. And that was peak parody. Like when everything on the news was just a joke.
I missed that.
And
I totally missed that.
Yeah. Now everything is still a joke, but it's like dire, and it has like everything has dire consequences or like nefarious underlying groups or goals attached to it. But back then it was just Republicans being fucking stupid.
It's so fucking hilarious, dude. It's dangerous to me. Sorry to continue on the subject, but it's so dangerous to me, the lack of like just study that goes into the people who talk about the news. It's insane. Like, these are people who are supposed to be giving the masses information that like helps them process their days, and they're just giving them fucking bumblefuck nothing. It blows my fucking mind.
It's because they're funded by very big money interests
that want you to divert the attention from them to other shit. That's stupid. Which is fucking wild.
You're never going to see mainstream news say anything really negative about people who are like making a ton of money off of like really underhanded tactics or really any of that shit. It's always going to be just like standard, like, oh, everything is fine.
Like I looked up one time how many people go missing at like Disney. And it's like a stifling amount, like way more than we've ever heard about. And you never hear about that shit on ABC News because they fucking own them.
That's pretty wild.
You'll never hear
100%.
that shit.
Well, let's move on.
Wily.
We got a lot of questions actually to get through. And a very small amount of time to get through them. We have, let's see.
Stop.
Oh, this is something for the Shoe on Head podcast. I'll save this for that one. Just cut this part out. Christian Palma wrote in, and he says, so here it goes, you juicy sluts. What is the best gift you have ever been given?
Well, the gift of life by my mother, but other than
You're
that,
such a
Shut
shithead.
the fuck up.
that's fucking important. Fuck you guys. I love my mom. But
Security?
Get this
Arrest
bum
this man.
fuck out of here.
who's that fucking security? Fucking a dog or some shit?
Security, arrest this man, kill him, take his jacket, don't give him his jacket.
I would say my girlfriend got me a customizable Spider-Man D&D dice. That was the greatest gift ever because no one else on the planet has them but me. So that's pretty fucking dope.
What was it?
She got me custom Spider-Man D&D dice. that no one else on the planet has but me. So it's pretty crazy.
How do you know?
Because she made them for me. She created them.
Huh.
She like had them made for me, particularly.
I see. I see what you're saying.
She ordered them. She didn't craft them.
I thought she
didn't
forged
craft
them in the
herself.
fires of Mordor.
That'd be fucking dope if she did, though. That'd be extra brownie points.
I don't really know what the best gift I've ever gotten was. I think my mind immediately goes to something that's definitely not the best gift I've ever gotten, but it's the
Halo
one
3?
that comes to mind. But it's like I went into surgery in like 2004, 2005 for like some like lymph node biopsy. And I remember like it was such a fucking terrifying, grueling experience because I woke up in the middle of surgery.
They slapped you back to sleep.
No, I fucking passed out from the sheer shock of feeling a breeze inside my body. But I passed out and I woke up out of the hospital bed, and then my parents took me to either like a Circuit City or like a Software Etc. because we didn't have GameStop back then.
Electronic boutique.
Yeah, so like some games place, and I got a PSP after surgery because they felt so bad that I had to go through that shit.
Nice.
And it was pretty sick. I love the PSP still. That thing is so fucking cool.
My mom keeps one in her bathroom.
What?
Yeah.
Your mom keeps a PSP in her bathroom?
Yes, she does. And she almost beat fucking as she was playing what was it? I can't remember if it was Ghost of Sparta or Chains of Olympus. And she got to the final boss, and it was whichever one you have to fight Persephone. And I was like, "You fucking almost beat the game." I was really surprised. I was really fucking impressed.
That is, I can't even fathom that because my parents are so not video game people at all. that sounds like such an alien concept. The thought of like, "Oh, hey mom, how far are you in fucking God of War: Chains of Olympus?"
My grandmother was pretty good at Mrs. Pac-Man and shit like that, like in Pong, but she wasn't like, she couldn't understand. If I gave her a game like that, she's like, I just don't have time to live someone else's life, Kingston. I can't, get that away from me. Please.
My parents could probably play Tetris and like Pac-Man and stuff.
Yeah.
That's as high as as high as it would go. I remember like, I was such an idiot because I was trying to get my parents into it. And the first thing that I decided to show my mom was like, hey, I'll show her Portal. Because
that's a good one.
Well, this is when it first came out. I was young, all right? Like I was in my view, I was like, oh, Portal, you can't die. There's no enemies. You don't have to switch your weapons. There's no grenades or anything.
Conceptually is an easy game. Conceptually. In base concept, it's like, this game is not that confusing. But then you think about it and you're like, what?
Actually, conceptually, it's super fucking confusing for somebody who doesn't play video games and isn't familiar with like how a camera works in a third person space. Like if you played 2D games, that's one thing. But like going from Pac-Man to fucking Portal, or really any game that has like a free camera in first person is like a huge leap because you don't even register like what you are or what you're looking at.
Yeah.
And just the concept of like opening holes in the sky and using momentum, and I was like, oh yeah,
that's fucking wild.
I was thinking like, oh, you can't die. There's no combat. This is like the best FPS to show somebody. But I was like, you shouldn't start somebody with an FPS.
Yeah, it's got to be third person or something.
It's
so
got to
be
see
the character.
We were talking about this. I can't remember when, but like, yeah, like
Mario
I
Sunshine,
feel like,
man. Mario Sunshine, Super Mario 64, man. Those where you got to start people. That's where you got to bring in them.
You got to start with 2D, and then you go into 2.5D, just so you get some idea of like how space works.
What is 2.5D again? What are those? What are those games?
2.5D is like Little Big Planet, where like
where
it's
you
like
can jump in and out of the depth of the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or even something like Fusion Frenzy or like something like that, where it's like just a bunch of little games that kind of like on their own.
Yeah,
I feel you.
But
that's dope.
I don't know.
Oh wait, the question was gifts,
yeah.
Right? The only thing that comes to mind is, and it's a simple gift, but it meant a lot to me. My ex-girlfriend in 2014.
A blowjob?
Yeah.
Gave me some of the sloppiest throat I ever, some of the wettest pussy I ever got in my life, man. Talk about fucking a fountain. I mean, it was just gushing.
All right, let's go.
Oh my god, dude! I was just gonna say she got me seasons 1 through 12 of The Simpsons, and that shit was like, because I'm the only groups that I follow on like Facebook or Instagram or anything like that is shit posting. And so it's like, It's Always Sunny shit posting, Simpsons shit posting. I used to do Simpsons Sunday posting on Instagram. That's my jam. So when I got all those, because I didn't own the seasons, that was like the dopest gift that I can receive, because it was all these like customizable boxes and shit. It was really cool, dope shit, man. I love Simpsons. So that was dope. But
yeah,
I'll just, for the record, she was also really dumb. I just want to put that out there. So I don't want to give her too much credit.
Oh my god, holy shit. All right. Progerian Incest Goblin wrote in. He says, "Hello, three horsemen of the quarantine, laziness, horniness, and sheer boredom."
Yeah, I wonder which one I am.
Yeah.
I guess I'm laziness. I
feel like I'm all of these.
I'm not true. I'm not horniness.
Seeing as I just got back from a small trip to San Fran, share your favorite road trip stories, specifically some highlights from the drive of New York City to Los Angeles. I bet some sketchy shit happened. I fucking can't. I can't do this. I can't reminisce about that trip. It was fucking so grueling, and I'm not even really. It at all? I remember a lot of it, but like it's to the point where it was just such a fucking harrowing experience that I question as to whether or not a lot of that stuff actually happened. Without Jalen being around to corroborate a lot of this shit, I wouldn't really believe it. There was a point where we were driving in I think Kansas, where it got so foggy that you couldn't see like a foot ahead of you, and you know, we were just driving in this fog, and I remember just constantly being like, I'm stressed out, I can't see the road, I'm gonna stop. And I never did it because I was like worried about like whether or not a car was behind me, because you couldn't see behind you either because it was so fucking foggy. And the second we got out of the fog, 2 seconds later, a semi truck came out from behind me from the fog. It was like right fucking behind me. I didn't see it. God. If I stopped on that road, I would have been fucking dead or fucked up. And that freaks me out still to this day.
That's so fucking
cool.
Scary.
That's cool, man.
It's such a terrifying...
That's pretty cool.
Because I was definitely close to just pumping the brakes, being like, I can't drive in this. Like, several times.
You would have fucking been an accordion. That would have been crazy.
You would have been a pancake. You would have been a 2D fucking render.
There was other things. There was a trucker that tried to ram us off the road. There was a time where we like stopped off in Arizona, and then I went to the bathroom, and then I went back, and Jalen had locked me out of the car. My phone was locked in the car in the fucking Arizona heat. He was nowhere to be seen. He left me alone for fucking 30 minutes because he went across the street to get lotion.
Hey, when you got a jacket, man, it's an emergency.
Why is it all jacking?
We bathed in a Walmart bathroom in Illinois.
Oh, yeah, I've had those. I've had bird baths, man, for sure.
It's just fucking insane.
What about you? What about you, Derek?
I mean, if we're talking about something fun, I'm trying to think of that as well, because, yeah, road trips are particularly trash, but it's also because I don't typically do it with, like, loved ones, like somebody that I just love being like. I haven't road tripped with like my closest friends. We've gone to certain places that's kind of far, but I'm talking about like 3 hours out of the way. I don't really think that counts. But anything like that, it's been with family members, and I was young and I hated the experience. We're driving all across the country to go to Florida, which is Florida in the summer is I think it's probably a fate worse than death. So
Florida is the worst place always all around the year. It's fucking terrible. Same.
But particularly in the fucking, because not only is it like 100% humidity or whatever the fuck it is, some wild shit where like I would throw a paper airplane in the air and then it would just be soggy by the time it landed. And then there would be like almost hurricane weather all the time, and I'm like, why are we going here for the summer? We live in Cali. Like, this is the place to be. This is where people across the world come, but we're going to Florida. So anyway, there was only like maybe a few moments when I went on this US tour in 2009. There was like moments there that were kind of cool, and just nothing like road tripping is just kind of, I don't know. I never really enjoyed it, but maybe in the future I'll have like some dope ass experiences because I'll go with the right people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
Because
that's
even the people I went with in the band, like we're homies, but they're not people that I want to spend 3 months with on the fucking road. You know what I mean? They weren't like you guys are my closest friends, and we're gonna be on the same level. There was just a bunch of problems, a lot of arguments. Two members, one of them got swine flu and went home early.
Oh my God.
Another one got kicked out. He quit the band when we were in Chicago. And at a certain point, so let's just say this. The lead guitarist and the rhythm guitarist were beefing so much. One of them quit when we were in Chicago. He flew home. And then the other guitarist got swine flu and he left. So for a while, we didn't have a guitarist. And then we called the dude Justin, the guy that left first, like, dude, homeboy's out of the band. Like, please come back. We need you. On the way to the airport in LAX, he got into a fucking car pileup and needed like 40 stitches on his head. So then he was a week late.
Oh my God.
It was so crazy.
That
it was
fucking
such
sucked.
a fucked up. There were so many. I'll just say this though, even though it was one of the worst times of my life, because touring without like a bus or like room is such a horrible experience, but I wouldn't trade it because it is wild to drive across the country and meet all these weird ass random people. And without that, I wouldn't have discovered, I think I was in Minnesota or something. I discovered YouTube poops because I wasn't really on that side of YouTube yet. And we got to sleep at this person's, apartment, and he was like, yo, you got to check this out. And then he like pulled out I think it might have been King of the Hill or something. And I never looked back. I was like, I can't believe I didn't know about this shit before. This is the best shit ever.
Oh my God.
That's so cool.
That's ridiculous. I don't think I've ever had any like moments where like on road trips. Me and my grandmother went across the country when I graduated high school. We went to like the Midwest. It was me, my grandmother, my cousin, and I think my aunt. We went to Chicago. My aunt's a fucking bitch, so she was terrible to go. My grandmother and me had a blast. Because all me and my grandmother did was just like make jokes at the fact that like everybody else is upset. And it was fucking hilarious. And we had a bunch of like really good food, so I actually had a great time. But I went with my family, that's why. So that's probably why.
Well, good for you.
I had a really wholesome family moment.
Yeah,
Probably had 3 in my whole life, though.
I'll tell you what's not a wholesome family moment. The thing that I just remembered reading this next and final question.
What is it?
Emperor Palpatine wrote in. He says, what is the meanest thing you've done or said to someone accidentally or on purpose to hurt them? And this, I didn't necessarily... So this, you remember, Kingston, right? The Jalen is dead.
Oh my God. That was technically... We were all a part of that, so that's definitely up there for me, too.
We were all a part of that. So this
God.
is a very specific...
You guys killed your homie.
No. So this is a really fucked story. But
we shouldn't tell all of it. We
basically,
gotta tell pieces of it, though.
We will mask people's names. So basically, our ex-roommate, you've seen him in videos, was over at a friend of ours' house. Let's call her Ashley or something. And Ashley and Jalen were hanging out, and then, they were having a fun time. They were drinking. They were just palling around. And then some other guy, we'll call him Bojangles.
Yeah, Bo.
Gets to that house and wants to hook up with Ashley. So Ashley kicks Jalen out and basically makes him drive home while intoxicated.
Oh my God.
And so, as a joke, I didn't know people were going to run with it, but as a joke, I suggested, hey, wouldn't it be funny if we all pretended like we haven't heard from you? And for some reason, everybody was like, yeah, totally. And they went on board with it, and they were just like, yeah, no, everybody she reached out to was like, yeah, no, I haven't seen him, haven't heard from him. And for like 2 straight days, it just got way out of hand.
Like bad. Like insane.
Like Jalen's family was calling, and it was
his sister, his mom. It was really fucking bad.
It got really bad. It got really bad, and then like we gave it up. We gave it up 2 days later. We were like, hey, this isn't real. And then
Let me tell my part. So after that part, after that all happened, I was like, this is a joke. And, everything went by, and we were all at the house. We were all drinking, having fun. And I said a joke and I was like, well, I mean, at least I didn't send Jalen to die, you know? And she started crying. And what I said is, why are you crying? You already did it. What's the point of being upset about it? It happened. And everybody was like, that's not okay. And I was like, what the fuck is not okay about that? I was really like seriously not understanding that I was hurting her feelings. And I still don't really care, honestly. It happened, you know? Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, that's some like, if I did some fuck shit like that and you guys told me that, I'd have to laugh about it. Cause I'd be like, fuck, I actually did that. Isn't that wild? But
it was
turns out,
it was definitely too soon.
Turns out everyone is not as strong as I am that can just not care about bad things happening. So she cried and I got kicked out the room.
But I suggested that as like a joke.
But like, I thought it would be like, you were the catalyst.
I did. It was my fault, but I didn't think people would run with it. And I wasn't running with it, in fairness. Like, I was immediately like, like, hey guys, this is kind of, you know, it was a funny suggestion because the thought of doing it would be so absurd and evil.
In fiction, it was funny.
That was the joke.
So you guys, like I said in the beginning, you guys killed your homie. That's exactly.
I didn't do shit. I wasn't a part of it. All I did was make a joke afterwards, and everybody got butthurt. And
yeah,
I was like, wow,
I mean,
look,
that happened to me, but in a way that I guess people should have known that it was a joke. From what I've seen, I didn't see the post, but in 2012. I remember because like I posted about it on Facebook to say that I'm not fucking dead. But
oh yeah,
yeah. Did I mention that? Yeah, just like
to me.
Oh, okay. If I don't remember if I said it on the podcast or not, but just long story short, I spent the night at my girlfriend's house at the time, and I just I barely check my phone now, so like I had no reason to check it before back then where I wasn't on social media for a living. And, I guess my homies were all hanging out and they're like, oh, let's take a picture and say like, rest in peace, Derek. And I guess I didn't see the photo, but I guess it was supposed to be obviously fake. Like my friend Ed looked so distraught that like nobody would take a picture like this. I guess that's what it was supposed to be, an obvious joke, but no one got it because when I checked my phone the next morning, I just had a myriad of messages saying, rest in peace. I'm tagged in it. People messaging me saying like, oh my God, is this real? I can't believe this is real. And I was like,
my God.
Holy fuck.
That's so fucking funny. That's so fucking hilarious.
Retroactively, it's hilarious. I was fucking mad because I didn't really care if my friends thought I was dead because I'm like, yeah, I'm not dead. Shut the fuck up. But like, families on Facebook. I was like, what if one of them fucking died from proxy, you know, like someone's so distraught,
fuck that.
my stepsister's telephoning it to their mom and then it gets back to my mom and then my mom fucking croaks because she thinks I'm dead. Like that would have fucking destroyed me. So that was the only thing I got mad about.
I feel you.
But that's interesting. You've lived something that I feel like most people, I think most people are curious as to how people would react when you find out that they're dead. You know what I mean? Like that's something that's like I would almost be like, oh, this is, you know, I would definitely try to rectify it, but I would be like, I'm glad this happened at least because I know now.
Imagine you just get good riddance messages.
All I care about when I'm dying is that I never come back. That's the only thing I want to be fucking set in stone. There is no way I can come back.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
I know it's a pretty good thing. I'm really happy about it. But other than that, I don't give a fuck what happens. I don't care what you do with my body. I don't care if you fucking who comes. I don't care if nobody shows up. I don't care if I get left in the street. I don't give a fuck if people fucking take my organs. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I'm dead. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, you can wear me, honestly. Like
you could literally use my dead body as a fleshlight. I wouldn't give a fuck. I'm gone. I'm gone. I'm out the fucking story. That's it. My chapter's over.
There's two things that I want, and I hope that my loved ones will carry it out, but I don't think they will. Because one of them, I want to be stuffed. I want you to take me to a taxidermist and stuff me, but stuff me with a boner. Like, make sure you stuff that too. And then just leave me in somebody's closet. I want to be in somebody's closet. So, I don't know who's going to take me.
There's going to be a fucking
somebody
peeper.
Has to take me.
It's gonna be a fucking peeper in a closet. Could you imagine fucking someone, fucking your boy? Like, I invite my girlfriend over and I have sex with her, and it's like, hey, what's in your closet? I'm like, oh, it's just Derek's dead taxidermied fucking body. And like, can we fuck with him in here? It's like, he's dead. He's not looking, but his eyes are wide open and he's smiling and shit at me.
Yo, fucking listeners, message me if you would accept my taxidermied body. Because I want that to happen. I know a lot of people, loved ones, will rail against that, but that's number one. I want that. Number two, I just want to be strapped to like a SpaceX rocket or something and fired in the direction of like Andromeda Galaxy. And maybe there's some alien niggas over there that know how to like reanimate, and I want to see some crazy shit over there. Like they'll be like, oh, we have the technology to revive dead cells, like fucking Mass Effect 2 or something. So just fire me in the direction of Andromeda, and maybe I'll get there in like a million years. And then, like fucking, I'll be frozen and they reanimate me. All of a sudden I'm chilling with these fucking, conceptually, I can't even think of what aliens would look like over there, but I'll be chilling with them and they're just like, hello there.
What if you got there? What if you got there and they all looked exactly like you?
I gotta tell you, I'd be fucking angry. I'd be disappointed. How
I'd
boring would that be?
I'd fucking me. Just to say I did.
No, I don't even mean like they. I don't. You're misunderstanding. Exactly like you. They're wearing the same clothes. They have the exact like everything about them.
You know
is
what's crazy?
The same.
What if
so
what if their forms are so fucking far from what we can understand that all we can make out is that they look like us, even though they definitely don't. We can just see them as looking like it's like quasi matter shit. Where we can't.
I mean,
even
that's entirely possible. If other life forms aren't like say carbon based, you would have no idea what they would actually evolve into. Like if they were based off of some other type of material or some other type of chemicals.
Most of them they would
elements.
like. How do I explain it? If it wasn't, because we can understand what silicon based things look like. They look kind of like us. They'd be a little more translucent and they'd be stronger. That's it. But like when it comes to like, if it's made of like a straight up different way of matter, it'd look wild. Or it'd be like, I don't know what the fuck we're looking at. Like that looks like a fucking, that's like a flashlight.
What do dark matter niggas, like what do dark matter aliens look like? You know what I mean?
You can't see them probably.
I can't
We can't even see them.
Begin with this. That's our show. I can't. It's getting too heady. It's too much. It's too much for me to handle right now.
Okay.
If you liked what you heard today, also we're like over 2 hours by like a bit.
That's true.
So, yeah, I mean, that was the show. That was the Snark Tank. That's what you pay for.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that, though.
Yeah, thanks for 900 patrons. It's wild.
Awesome. When we get to 1,000, we will send pictures of Sweeney's head to your inboxes.
Yeah, that's exactly what we'll do.
Yeah, look at that.
We'll send like one of those, like, you know, those 3D cameras like that they have at award shows where it's like a million cameras surrounding the person and it gets like a freeze frame animation loop of them jumping or something.
Yeah.
We'll take 100 photos of Sweeney's head from every conceivable direction, and you can scan it and put it in whatever the hell you want to put it in.
Please don't have you guys seen the fucking deep fakes of my face? They put my face on Chris, and Chris looked like a fucking Indian man with my face on it.
It's disgusting. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen. We'll link that. We'll link that in the on the Patreon thread when this episode goes live. But yeah, so thank you guys for your support again. If you liked what you heard today, consider supporting us over at patreon.com/thesnarktank. $1 a month gets you early access, $5 gets you a question read on the show, $10 gets you access to our Discord, and $25 gets your name dyslexically read at the end of the show, which I will now do. Sweeney the Kawaii Waifu, Hiroshima's Spicy Mushrooms, Colonel Colin the colon-collapsing Kingpin, Gas Can, a Level 1 Cleric, Stitstrip Kema, Derek's Unyielding Sex Drive, Game Like You Mean It, Dummy Thick Dave, Big Dude 0444, Heartless Wretch, Eating Chris's Cake Arm, Cataclysmic Cunt, Yummy 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 Come Inside My Tummy, Jackson Absage, Josh Cummings, The Ghost That Lived in the Apartment Above Chris and Sweeney, Jolly Old Dipshit, Emperor Palpatine, Hugger Derek the Mongolian Throat Singer, Mr. Krabs, Why Is Your Daughter Naked and Chained in the Basement? Carson Jones, Keitherian David, The Progerian Hunter, Deflated Left Ass Cheek, Sunny Chance, Sasson Flavored Dick Pills, Toby Shootman, Melphis 1, El Culebron, Richter 86, King of Haphazard, Finn Kurtz, Aiden Smith, Banana 101 ASDF, Hey Chassel 9, Progerian Incest Goblin, Nick Baca, I thought I was pregnant with Keith David's baby, but it was just AIDS. Sweeney's weenie in my martini. Plutonium Dynamite. Billy the Big Ball Brawler. Shronic the Swamp Hog. Alaskan Oilfield Trash. Artie the One Man Party. Please love me. Chris would be a twink if he cared about hygiene. I wish my dad kissed me like Tom Brady. Did 9/11. Not an FBI agent. Juan Punchman. Marcus Shorten. Mr. Fuck. Big Nick Digger, the meat I beat skeets neatly on her teats, Driegser, Sir Simple-Lot, Papa Nurgle, Ruth Bader Ginsburg's Moist Clam Sauce, Andrew Cuomo's Andrenochrome Factory, Zesty Keith David, Chris's 69 gigabytes of Coco Bandicoot Hentai, Game Controller 25, ICOC, more like fuck those cunts, Danny DeVito's Dank Delectable Draconian Dick Revolution, June's Cock Gobbling Slut, The Blampy That Dangles, Cold Burb, Murder Ascended, Maxwell Didn't Kill Herself, David Connolly, The Dyslexic That Feels Chris's Pain, Dunderhead, Ben Douglas, Pokemon Black and White Supremacy, Dragazorith is Only Happy When It Rains, Sergeant Sweaty Sack, Les Bearstail, Heiko, Chief Keith David, 1 meter long fetus, I Got a Kink for Banned on iTunes, Moto Zealot, and Mike Tyson's Left Hook. Thank you all for giving your $25 to a worthy cause, that being the Snark Tank's goal to take over the universe and the internet by proxy. We'll see you in next week's episode, in which we will interview Shoe on Head. That'll be a fun one. That'll be available extra early for patrons, so get right on that if you are so inclined, and we'll see you next time.